Mexico.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer announcing an agreement to vote on a House-passed plan next week in the Senate. The compensation fund was created in 2011 to provide money for those with diseases linked to exposure to toxic debris. An effort to pass the measure without debate earlier this week was stalled by Republican Rand Paul, who has secured a vote on an amendment designed to offset some of the costs of the legislation. Rich.
Jared, President Trump moments ago saying a U.S. warship has destroyed an Iranian drone in the Strait of Hormuz amid heightened tensions in the region. President Trump says he wasn't happy about his supporters chanting, "Send her back," as he spoke about Congresswoman Ilhan Omar at a rally in North Carolina last night. But he's continuing to blast the Minnesota lawmaker and 3 other minority congresswomen.
There's such hatred. They have such hatred. I've seen statements that they made with such hatred toward our country. And I don't think that's a good thing. They should embrace our country. They should love our country.
The feud between the president and the freshman congresswomen began over the weekend when the president tweeted they should go back to their home countries, despite the fact all 4 are American citizens and 3 were born in the U.S. Representative Omar emigrated from Somalia when she was 10. No major moves on Wall Street as more second-quarter earnings come out and concerns linger over trade with China. The Dow up 3 points, the S&P gaining 11, with the Nasdaq ending 22 points higher at the closing bell. This is Fox News.
Hafaday, this is Congressman Nicholas. Our office is currently visiting our villages, providing contact information for our office and taking any inquiries we may be of service with. All vehicles and staff are appropriately identified for your safety. Please feel free to let our constituent outreach team know how we can be of service to you, and thank you for your kindness.
This ad was paid for with official funds from the office of Congressman Michael F.Q. San Nicolas.
Hey, welcome to this Subway ad for the new club collection. How do you want it?
I'll take a book club.
Absolutely.
So, last week we sunk our teeth into Subway's meaty new release, the Steak Club.
I didn't finish it yet.
Oh, not again, Sandra. This week, it's the new Southwest Chicken Club, also by Subway. No spoilers, but there's a tasty twist.
Jalapeno cheddar bread and guacamole?
Sandra, get out. Subway, make it what you want.
Good ending.
Limited time only at participating restaurants.
A number of Philadelphia police officers are facing discipline for Facebook posts that have been deemed offensive.
Police Commissioner Richard Ross says 72 officers were placed on leave for racist posts that could incite violence, but some were more egregious than others.
13 of these officers will be suspended for 30 days with intent to dismiss.
The rest will get suspensions from 5 to 30 days for violating the social media policy. Ross says the posts angered him. Philadelphia Mayor Jim Kenney says moving forward in an age of online communication,
we must be extremely diligent in how we communicate.
Commissioner Ross says anti-bias training and audits for social media posts will hopefully prevent future problems. Colonel Scott, Fox News.
Well, roughly 2/3 of the nation is now under record-breaking heat warnings that extend through the weekend.
The National Weather Service forecasts dozens of record highs with temps in the 90s and triple digits, and feel-like temperatures as high as 115 from the eastern Rockies to Detroit to Washington through Saturday.
Our highest priority is the safety and security of our residents, especially the most vulnerable.
Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot and other city leaders in over 24 states setting up cooling centers and urging precautions for people to stay hydrated.
I just want to get someplace where it's cool.
It is too hot.
People are also urged to keep an eye on the most vulnerable, the young and old. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
Officials in Berkeley, California are taking steps to make sure people use gender-neutral words. The city has passed an ordinance to replace some common terms with those that don't favor men. Gone is the use of manhole. The city code will now refer to them as maintenance holes. Same goes for manpower. It will be replaced with workforce. More than 24 commonly used terms are being replaced with their gender-neutral forms. I'm Rich Dennison, and this is Fox News.
Get 2 Pepsi 12-packs for only $8.99 when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy. Get a Pepsi 12-pack for only $3.49 when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See store for details. Circle K. Take it easy. Get 2 Coke 12 packs for only $8.99 when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy.
Viva Guam! As Guam celebrates 75 years of liberation, Nambo Insurance honors the brave heroes who dedicated their lives to fight for our freedom. With great pride, we salute those who made our liberation possible. At Nambo Insurance, they share the same dedication to serve our community, from offering reliable home, auto, motorcycle, and business insurance to providing friendly holiday service. Nambo Insurance is dedicated to serving Guam. From your Nambo family, happy liberation, Guam.
KFC has finally answered the world's most important question. What came first, the chicken or the egg? And the answer is both. Introducing KFC's KFC AM, their new Southern and local-inspired breakfast. AM-loaded platter with chicken fried rice, waffles, and Colonel's chicken congee. KFC also has your all-time favorites, AM chicken and egg wraps, Southern biscuit and sausage sandwich, and hash browns. So for finger-licking good mornings, AM will never be the same at KFC. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 7 minutes past 6 a.m. this Friday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. The Supreme Court of Guam has tossed out the $14 million arbitration award to YTK Corporation in a lease dispute over a failed fisheries business at the Port of Guam's Hotel Wharf. In its decision announced yesterday, the Supreme Court ruled that the arbitration award was void because it was based on a 45-year lease agreement on Hotel Wharf that was not valid. The port only had the authority to enter into a 5-year lease, but beyond that, any government property lease requires legislative approval, which the Port Authority did not have. The justices ruled that absent legislative approval of the lease, any attempt by the port to transfer possession of land under these circumstances would be substantively illegal. The arbitration panel therefore exceeded its authority by attempting to enforce an illegal contract, and the amended arbitration award should have been vacated. Previous owners of Guam YTK had ceased renewing their business license, but it was revived when purchased by attorney Champ Calvo's business, which launched the litigation leading to the arbitration award. Attorney Mike Phillips, who represented the Port Authority and argued the case before the Supreme Court, said he felt vindicated. The port does not owe these guys one penny, said Phillips. Former port general manager called the arbitration award sheer naked gluttony, which island residents would have paid for. The board and management and attorney Mike Phillips fought back vigorously against picking up this $14 million tab. The arbitration award was decided by a panel of private attorneys. The funding source has not yet been identified, and the authors acknowledge their measure may become moot if a rival bill introduced by Guam's delegate is passed by Congress first. But Speaker Tina Muñoz-Barnes and Minority Leader Senator Will Castro pressed on regardless. Yesterday afternoon, they introduced Bill number 181-35, which would establish the 75th Guam War Claims Fund and provide the governor with the authority to transfer up to $7.5 million into it. At a news conference following the introduction of the bill yesterday, Speaker Barnes said the measure authorizes the governor to work within the administration to find the funding. Once identified, the local funds would be just enough to provide each of the 754 Manamco whose war claims have already been adjudicated with the $10,000 reparation check they've been waiting for. No checks have been issued by the U.S. Treasury yet because former Delegate Madeline Bordallo neglected to include a provision in her World War II Loyalty Recognition Act to authorize the release of funds. After he succeeded Bordallo in January, San Nicolas learned of the error, introduced H.R. 1365 to correct it, and his bill comes up for a vote on the floor of the U.S. House next week. Both Speaker Barnes and Senator Castro acknowledge that if the San Nicolas bill clears Congress and is signed into law by President Trump first, their bill could become moot. I don't think it's a race, said Barnes. It's about working together. We're both headed in the same direction, said Castro. Their goal, they said, is to get checks issued as quickly as possible. We'll We'll have more news after this.
Business travel just got easier. Take your data plan with you for only $10 a day to all 17 data-to-go destinations. Never worry about additional data roaming charges when you go where your business needs you. The US, China, Thailand, and so much more. Have the assurance you need to check emails, surf the web, and stay connected. Call 688-2677 today to make sure your account is data-to-go ready. Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Mezcla Chamorro Fusion Bistro brings you island hospitality with a true taste of modern Chamorro cuisine. A bistro look that feels like home. Their menu features local and traditional flavors with a twist. From their famous Calaguan Hafa to fresh ahi poke salad and their award-winning barbecue ribs. Mezcla takes your favorite local dishes and serves them with extra flair that you'll only find at Mezcla Chamorro Fusion Bistro. Stop by their newest location in the Grand Plaza Hotel in Tumon. For reservations, call 969-2652. Mezcla, a true taste of Guam.
11 minutes past 6 a.m. here at The Point. Cebu Pacific Airlines will discontinue its Guam service in December. The carrier has announced that it's pulling out of Guam because of limited flight slots in Manila and its need to shift aircraft to routes with higher demand. The budget airline's exit from the Guam market leaves Philippine Airlines and United competing for direct Guam-Manila flights. In a statement, the discount airline said its entry into the Guam market gave the traveling public a more affordable alternative, but despite all their efforts, the Guam route is no longer viable. The airline launched its Guam service in March 2016. The last round-trip flights between Manila and Guam on Cebu Pacific will be December 7th. Guam International Airport was briefly evacuated yesterday morning after smoke began rising from a moving walkway near Gate 10 on the second floor of the terminal. Guam Fire Department spokesman Kevin Riley said there were no flames and no injuries. The building was evacuated as a precaution to allow the air to clear after the smell of smoke filled the terminal building. Airport Deputy Executive Manager John Kinata said no outbound or inbound flights were affected. It happened after all early morning flights had departed. Kinata said technicians from Otis Elevator were called in to figure out what caused the walkulator to begin emitting the smoke. It could have been an overheated motor or the belts that moved the walkway could have slipped out of alignment, he said. They're waiting for the technicians to complete their assessment to determine the cause. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now with some weather.
What did he call it? It's a walkalator?
That's what they call it.
Like a walkalator?
That's the official name for it.
It's
like an escalator,
but it's
there's a walkalator.
I had no idea there was a...
I didn't know that.
I've heard 100 different ways to describe it, moving sidewalks, and that's neat. Walkalator
It's officially
is
known as a walkalator.
Let me ask you, do you guys stand on the walkalator, or do you also walk at the same time?
I walk backwards.
Just to look cool. Pull the Michael Jackson.
Walk backwards. When I'm really tired, I ride the little rail on top. It's just,
nice.
It's a gas. 6:13 in the morning. Partly sunny skies today. What do we got here? With some isolated showers. Thunderstorms are in the forecast as well. East winds up to about 15 miles an hour. Decreasing at night. Highs around 89 degrees tonight. Overnight lows of about 79. Sunset tonight, 6:51. We watch the sunrise this morning at about 6:02. I know exactly where I want to be at 6:51 tonight, and I hope the weather is going to be cooperative. It was that kind of weird day yesterday where weren't a whole lot of clouds in the sky, and then when they did come in, they came in big and gray and full of angry rain. What's that, Mike?
Yeah, we had some moisture move over the island late in the evening, and as it did, the heat of the island lifted those clouds up, and then the winds were strong enough to push it offshore before it really dumped on us, although we did get some rain over there at my place. But it allowed those clouds to really build up just west of the island, completely blocked out the sunset for the most part. Maybe the same thing will happen again today because the weather situation is pretty much the same in terms of moisture and things that'll make that happen. Here's radar looking at some showers moving in from the east. It looks like they're starting to peter out just a bit as the diurnal cycle comes to the nighttime end. We get over to the daytime side. They'll probably fire up again a little bit later on. And we see this is kind of a massive shower. As we go to satellite, I'll show you what that is. There's a big upper level low just to the north of the CNMI, and then there's a trough of that upper level low that extends down right here to Guam. system. With upper level lows, you have what's called divergence aloft. That means it allows the moisture and energy to spread out, and that's really conducive.
Is that
for
why
thunderstorm
Cebu's pulling out? That's why Cebu Pacific's pulling out?
No,
divergence?
they just want to move planes to their better, more profitable routes. Anyway, so that's really what's happening, and as long as we're under that little tail of divergence, we will have a chance of thunderstorms. And it's going to be interesting to see where this low moves, because you can see it's dragging these clouds off to the east with it as it travels very slowly to the east. But I think they're actually counting on that thing to kind of fizzle out over the next day or so. Right now, National Weather Service says just dry trade wind weather right on through the weekend and for Liberation Day. So make sure you hydrate if you're going out for the parade.
Oh, hydration, throwing some kind of liquid in our body on Liberation Day is not going to be a problem. Trust me. And drinking beer, in my mind, is a legal form of hydration. 6:15 in the morning. That's news and weather together, brought to you by Bank Pacific, serving us for 65 years.
65 years ago, Bank Pacific opened its doors to our community. As we celebrate, we offer you a special 65th anniversary personal loan rate for as low as 4.65%. For travel, back to school, a wedding, do whatever you want with the money. During July, we just want to give it to you for as low as 4.65% APR. It's our birthday present to you.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal opportunity lender, member FDIC, conditions apply.
Let's see if I can take care of everybody here. Portions of the Ray Gibson Show brought to you by my pals over at Ruby Tuesdays. Looking for a happy hour tonight? Swing by there because they've got select draft beers, wines, and grills. Ruby Tuesdays Tipsy Palmers or the Ruby Relaxers, $5 or less, plus $5 appetizers as well. Check them out for happy hour tonight at Ruby Tuesdays Guam. Ray Gibson Show also brought to you by APL, global presence with a local home. Nambo Insurance, where you can save up to 50% with their Bundle Up plan. Give them a ring later on this morning, 477-9754. Micronesia Renewable Energy with these incredible battery systems now that are recharged by solar panels. So you're using the cosmic rays of the sun to make sure that you've got electricity in your home. How do you do it? Well, I'd call for a free consultation, 632-2613. And don't forget, sometime this weekend, test drive the all-new Jeep Wranglers at the Summer of Jeep event at Cars Plus. We've got Wranglers, Compasses, Cherokees, Grand Cherokees, and plenty more. 1.99% APR. Great service plans as well at Cars Plus in Mighty.
The Ray Gibson Show. Morning talk that matters. Call now. 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
To get started here today. It's Friday, and you know how we are on Fridays. No frowny faces. Only smiling faces and no frowny faces. I may not even, depending on who's on the phone, I may not even do the concerned Ray Gibson knit the eyebrows. I don't know. It's kind of hard to do. I think Botox is required to not knit the eyebrows, but I'll try not to do that. Legislative sitting upon high and listening to the incredible testimony that I'm going to ignore a little bit later on. But anyway, so I'm going to try to maintain a frisky attitude all the way through the morning show. I would appreciate if you were frisky as well. And I'll give you a ton of reasons this morning why you need to be in a frisky mood. But first, I got to take care of our top 10 this morning and say thanks very much to everybody coming in, because it's going to be a big crowd. We got to start with this first.
Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You want to be where you can see the troubles are all the same. You want to be where everybody knows your name.
Ismael, no surprise, Ismael comes in number one today. There's Patty Santiago, John Ray Titano, Tim Lahan's online, John Regis. There's Valine Iriarte, and Valine's a new favorite of the program here because, number one, probably shouldn't even be awake right now, but she is, and she's been a part of the program for the last couple of days as she continues to build plans for the Area 51 raid that's going to be coming up, and I think we're going to try to get a planning meeting in at some point today. I see my buddy Nick and Perlowski with the Hoik, and Bruce Dinsman is on. James Schmidt is there, and Lynn Vince Borja Polino online as well. A bunch of other people that are chiming in this morning. As I said, there's Lynn Vince says, the smell of Friday. Sahara Defensor, I am no longer the smartest person in the room. Sahara's on. Not that I ever was the smartest person in the room, but it's always nice to see we've got that kind of brain power in there. Randy Kruger, Rico Blancaflor saying good morning, Ray, Kevin, Mike, Blake, and Guam. Blake's not in just yet. We'll have him in for sports. And I don't know about you, but I am super, super excited. You know, it's great to see young people go and literally chase their dreams. And I've been a fan of young Janina Chris for a long time, and absolutely delighted that she was able to nab silver at the South Pacific Games. Nice write-up on her as well. And her entire picture occupying the back page of the PDN.
Quickly, while we're on the subject of sports, because
Yes.
some of our viewers here and listeners at this time of day aren't here during the sports report, still looking for input on what kind of fantasy football league we want to do this year. Do we want to do full fantasy football or just the pick'ems? Maybe we can do a poll on the website or something. I don't know. But still, feedback would be welcome.
Yeah, but I don't understand either one of them. So maybe
Well,
in a couple minutes we'll talk about it. There's Tony and Ned and Pinko added there. Pam Duvall is online. Director Cho hung over from watching The Lion King last night, and I asked about it. She gives me an answer. I'll read it to you in a second. Melissa Salas Akimoto, Alfred Wayne Cabo is on. Louise Borja Munya, good to see you there. And I tell you what, the people that are occupying your building now in Agania are doing a fantastic job. About just a wonderful place, different crowd every time I've been in there. Greg Carabrock's online. Ken LG, and I've been saying today's a no frowny face Friday. There's not going to be any frowny faces going on today, unless I think you're Champ Calvo. I think Champ is going to have a frowny face based on the ruling from the Supreme Court yesterday.
Denied.
Absolutely. Ken LG says, say goodbye to Guam YTK, one down, and GRRP to go. You think that's coming up next?
That is the first thing that has made common sense since I've arrived on this island. That ruling.
I see Landon Nadler. But you know what? What's going to be interesting is go find some of the lawyers that were originally part of the arbitration case. I know one or two of them that did the arbitration between the port and the new and improved version of YTK. And as far as they were concerned, YTK actually had a point and a point of grievance and should have been given that $14 million.
Well, I guess they're wrong because that's what the Supreme Court decided.
Supreme Court moving completely in the opposite direction. Hey, Ladden, nice to see you there. Cheryl Ochai is online. Juanita Machi. Richard Leon says, what's YTK going to do now? And Roy Respicio has to be fired, according to Richard. Heather Pear is online. The point at me asking, how is the Lion King? Hold on, I'll get an answer. Vivian Cunningham is online. Sandra De Leon Guerrero. Tommy Martinez Aguero up in the frozen Pacific Northwest, or what I like to refer to as the upper left-hand corner of the United States. Pat and Norma Jean Flores. Where else is going on today? Pam Duvall, Dave Duenas is online early. There it is. Director Cho responding about Lion King. It was kind of intense. I forgot the theme of life and death all the way through the movie. If Disney hadn't have done it, that would have been a horror movie with people getting run over by wildebeest, or not wildebeest, whatever those kind of caribou were that they are in that, and you've got your own blood uncle that wants to kill you.
Yeah, it was intense.
Yeah, it should be. But despite the intensity, they anticipate that movie will make about $450 million just this weekend alone.
I actually want to go see it because I watched it, 40,000 times with my kids back when it was new.
Yeah.
But it's a different kind of movie now, so I want to go see what kind of similarities there are.
Well, what I want to find out is apparently they went in. There's a story somewhere about the guy being all starstruck at recording James Earl Jones, doing the voice of the dad in the movie, the original Lion King, the first administration of the Lion King. And I'm going, wait a second. Why'd they need to re-record it? I wouldn't have paid the guy twice. We already had him in the can for the one that he did back in the 90s.
Yeah, so then that's what I say. Clearly there have been some fairly significant changes, at least in dialogue, made that they really felt like they needed to redo that. So
Rico Blancaflor asking Cebu Pacific is leaving. Yeah, it looks like it. We'll take a look at the press release that they sent out, but it does make kind of sense. He says, I can't believe Cebu leaving. That's my fallback airline, just in case I can't get a ride on United or Philippine Airlines.
In brief, I did read the press release, and it says that what they're doing it for is so that they can move these aircraft to actually more profitable routes back home. I can tell you on my trip there and back just a couple of weeks ago, both flights were completely full. So I don't think it's a matter of demand. I think it's just from business.
But there's even bigger demand for other destinations.
That's right.
Look, I've got friends. We've all got friends in the Philippines. Take a look at their Facebook page. They're traveling to all kinds of incredible and exotic destinations. you get your Singapores, your Vietnams, all kinds of other. You got to imagine you've got Boracay down there, some of the other destination spots that are blooming in the Philippines. Everywhere where the waters are temperate and there's a beach and we've got blue water around and coral that you can swim around. All of those places are becoming real magnets, and as difficult as it is for some people to come to the United States, come to Guam, there's a lot of other countries that say, bring me your Filipino masses.
Yeah, to support what you're saying there, keep in mind the Philippines is a tourist destination.
In and
People
of
fly
itself.
into Manila, Cebu Pacific flies them all over the country, and so they just got to do it that way.
Seems to me, or build more airports with more landing facilities. Tommy Barcina's there. Hey, good to see you there, cuz. Charlene Marchusseau, Chris Sabalencha's there. Smug Wimp, Debbie Wise asking, what does your shirt say? I'm so glad that you asked. It says, let me see if I can do this so that I don't have to stand up. I think I can do it and just turn off some of the features that you might be looking at. It says, support the uterus. Support the uterus. I've had people in the studio, Catherine Manlapas among them, talking about endometriosis and things like that. It is that conversation has taken root. There's more support for it. In fact, folks over at Coffee Slut are the ones that printed this T-shirt, Support the Uterus. And because I'm friends with Hannah and because I'm friends with Catherine, they asked if I could help bring a little bit more awareness to endometriosis, etc., and wear the shirt on television. And since Hannah gave me exactly the right size shirt, medium. Yeah, happy to wear it.
Yeah, you know me, I've always got my, head in the clouds, eyes to the sky. When I first saw the shirt, I thought it said support Uranus. And I was wondering, what happened to Uranus?
All right. Who else is playing around? Sandra with the clapping, and Richard Taitagui is there. Richard, excited because another one, what is it, the 35th or something running of the Liberation Mile? Sunday morning, 7:21. About 7 or so, I need everybody that's going to run the mile to show up about Ace Hardware, that area at 7:21. We will all gather, and then somebody's going to fire off a gun. It's 7:21 because that's when Liberation is, and it's almost a perfect mile between there and the reviewing stand, and Janina Chris and I think Derek Mendel haven't made it back yet, so there's a pretty good chance that you might be able to beat Ryan Machinzo if you can run fast enough. Hey, it's hard. I'll tell you what, running a mile at full-on top speed is tricky, and it's not one of those things where you're going to want to jog or run afterwards. So it's the one workout that you're going to get today. It is the equivalent, in my mind, of running, a fast 10K or something like that. You just got to really book.
You think it's a psychological thing? Because most of the runs here are calculated in kilometers, and not miles. And of course, a mile is 1.6 kilometers.
Yes, it is.
And so, mentally, you're thinking 1 mile. You're mistakenly getting in your head 1 kilometer, and it's actually quite a bit.
A little bit more. No, I don't have that mind wrap around that you're talking about. Because once I get started, it's literally, I can't believe I'm doing this again. I can't believe I'm doing this again. Within seconds of it, it's hard to breathe, and then you've got to run through all of the barbecue smoke and everything through there. But the thing is. The thing is, by the time you get to the end of it, it's like trying to hold a 2-minute plank. Have you ever done that?
Yes.
Yes, you have. Yeah, that last 10 or 15 seconds of holding a 2-minute plank?
There's a lot of burn.
Yeah, it's exactly that. But a lot of guys are going to be coming out and doing it. You don't have to be super fast if you don't want to be. If you just want to push the stroller, that's fine as well. Albert Eliason is there. Good morning, Bert Duarte, Lillian Cruz, Mingo Reed, Jackie Cabrera's online, Afatu, Zaydzi Taminglu, Dennis Bensour's on, Ken LG. Arbitration was flawed, he says. Yeah, it's post facto, and there's a lot of people now that are saying there was an unbelievable amount of kabuki in this YTK drama. It's going to make an interesting book one of these days. Levon Guerrero Meno, Frankie Gutierrez, Brenda Lee, not that one, the other one, Crystal Schnabel, Rita Hugo, Valerie Maige is online. There's Rudy Magallanes thinking about some of the places that he wants to go the next time he flies Cebu Pacific in the actual country, Seriago and Palawan. Eunice Mendiola. Who else is there? I'm looking for some new names there. Lynn Perez is online this morning. Annette Ada Vasquez celebrating Liberation. Are you home? Are you home or are you celebrating still in the States? Next time we go, we'll have some coffee. Okay, where are we? 888-8255-888-TALK is the telephone number, 629. And we were talking a little bit about Cebu Pacific in there, and a little disappointing that they had pulled out. I always like to think that, we've got enough travelers around here and enough people that want to, get on airplanes or at least take advantage of the idea that there are other airplanes, low-cost carriers as well, that are flying in and out of Guam. I'm not going to take any credit for Cebu Pacific being here, but it was, spring of 2017, myself and a bunch of folks in the hospitality and the visitor community got together at kind of a grand opening welcome to Guam celebration that we had at Pacific Star Hotel. It was nice. All the big shots were there. A bunch of little shots were there. People from the ticket office were here, and it felt like it was the beginning of a relationship that was going to last forever. And I should have known, having lived through Pan Am and TWA and Braniff Airlines and any number of other airlines that we'd gone to grand openings to back in the day, that in the airplane business, nothing lasts forever. There is nothing permanent. I still have on luggage, and if you're wherever together and you see me with my red camping backpack, take a look at it. There's a luggage tag on it. You know what it says? Continental Micronesia. Nice. Continental Airlines. So nothing lasts forever, and I guess that means that we've got a couple of slots opening up here at the Guam International Airport. Might be interesting to find out from Tom Anna this morning how they intend to fill some of those slots, and whether or not the walk-a-later has been repaired, or is it now, like the rest of the airport, just a sidewalk? It's just a metal sidewalk on the way to the United Lounge. We'll see. 6:31 in the morning. It's about time for headlines from the Guam Daily Post. Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. In the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning, Guam Delegate Michael San Nicolas has announced that the bill that fixes a technical error in Guam's World War II Loyalty Recognition Act will likely pass the U.S. House of Representatives with bipartisan support next week. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi made the announcement during the Guam Liberation Gala at the U.S. Botanic Gardens on Wednesday in Washington. San Nicolas introduced H.R. 1365 to correct a flaw in the bill introduced by former Delegate Madeline Bordallo, which has held up payment of reparation awards to more than 700 island Manamco who survived the Japanese occupation of World War II. Once the bill clears the House, it'll have to go on to the Senate for passage there before landing on President Trump's desk for final action. Guam Attorney General Levin Camacho has joined with 37 other territorial and state attorney generals in an appeal to the U.S. Food and Drug Administration for an assessment of the risks posed by the growing number of CBD products and guidance on enforcing regulations that apply to them. In a news release yesterday, Camacho said Guam consumers need to know that any CBD products they are drinking, eating, or putting on their bodies are safe and are being marketed accurately. Companies across the country have started to manufacture and sell a wide variety of CBD-related products, which some claim as a treatment for a wide variety of health concerns. However, these businesses are operating throughout the country without much oversight, according to the release. In their letter to the FDA, the Attorney Generals expressed their hope that the FDA continue to explore manufacturing, testing, and marketing best practices so that consumers are not at risk of misleading advertising or harm to their health from dangerous additives. An activist group that has been critical of the military buildup has called on 11 Guam lawmakers to remove their names from a resolution praising outgoing Joint Region Marianas Commander Rear Admiral Shoshana Chatfield for her leadership and contributions to the island of Guam. In a statement sent to the lawmakers, the group Prutehi Litekyan Save Retidian declared that the commendation trivializes and undermines community efforts to safeguard our home. The group called the commendation an ill-timed and grossly inappropriate resolution. Speaker Tina Munya Barnes said she would not take back the resolution. She told the Guam Daily Post yesterday that she respects Prutehi, but the resolution commending Chatfield was also a matter of respect for the Rear Admiral and her willingness to cooperate with the legislature during her command. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
It's 6:34, and that's iConnect. I'm Kevin. Swing by an iConnect and ask them about how to save money on your internet plan and mobile plans in 2019, right? Okay, yeah. So for the rest of the year, they can save you money. Call them. They'll tell you.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. Half a Day. I'm Mark Beneventi of Santa Rita, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voice of our community and sharing thoughts and issues that affect us all. It all boils down to our people, our land. Protei Igumama. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
6:34, you're thinking about lunchtime, you're thinking about snack time, you're thinking about what you ate last night and going, I could have done better. Yeah, you probably could have. Next time, go to Wendy's and order up one of your own Berry Burst chicken salad. It's got strawberries in it and the chicken. And we got a little chicken in there, and feta cheese, blueberries, raspberry vinaigrette dressing that goes on top of that, little shaved almonds. I mean, they shave them up better than you could possibly ever do it at your place. Oh, and if you don't want to, you don't have to. You can just leave those on the side and put them in ice cream or something like that later on. But anyway, the Berry Burst chicken salad waiting for you today at Wendy's.
Liberate your mind with laughter. Budweiser presents Hypnosis Comedy coming to Guam Liberation Weekend.
Half a day, Guam. I am comedian hypnotist Rich Guzzi, and I can't wait to see you July 20th and 22nd at the Sheraton Laguna Hotel.
With local comedy legend Frank Rios opening the show. $25 general admission, $35 for VIPs. Tickets on sale at 76 Circle K stations and at Coffee Slut. Doors open at 6. Special thanks to Community First, the Guam Daily Post, Delta Tires, Trivision, and Choice Broadcasting.
You will have the time of your life.
Liberate your mind with laughter is a GSPN production.
I believe at this point they have removed the tickets now from the outside location. Should be available for you at the door tomorrow night. I will see you because I get to be the Mister of Ceremonies. Oh, we have tickets to give away here this morning. Is that my last pair to give away? All right, we'll talk about that in a couple of minutes if I remember. Anyway, 6:36 in the morning is it time to take a look at the traffic gizmo and see what's happening out there on your roadways. It's the Friday before Liberation, so I anticipate things might actually be a little bit more busy today with people doing a lot more running around getting things ready for Liberation Sunday and all of the festivities that are going to be going on starting pretty much right now. Route 4, even before you get to Route 10, a little bit busy over by the Pago Bay area. Watch out for that. Or is that coming out of Jotnia? Do me a favor. If you're in that area, let me know if there's an accident just before the turn over by the gas station. Looks like a little bit of traffic beginning to slow down up in Sinahanya just before you pass the gas station up there. Most of 10 is looking good. Most of 8 is looking good right now. I've got 15. Challenge 15. That's looking all right. Most of Marine Corps Drive from up around Pam Duvall's place and Lady D's place looking pretty good until you get into some of the places that'll slow you down. Mostly intersection stuff here this morning and nothing happening over at Big Navy. 6:37, and that's right now traffic here in the Point.
Let's go for a drive.
Let's take a stroll.
Let's gallivant.
Let's go cruising.
We all have different ways to describe how we get up and go in our cars. But whatever you may call it, you can do more of it when you save 6% off your fuel purchases at any Shell station when you use your eligible Bank of Guam Visa and MasterCard credit cards. So stop by any Guam or CNMI Shell station and start saving today. Visit bankofguam.com for more information. Terms and conditions apply. Bank of Guam, the People's Bank. Member FDIC.
The Ray Gibson Show. Any speaker, anytime. Morning talk that matters.
In 22 minutes, it'll be 7 o'clock in the morning, 888-8255-888-TALK. And frankly, if he didn't call me, I was going to call him because I figured he would be the one, that he would be among the several voices that I knew would have an opinion on the YTK ruling from the Supreme Court last night that came out yesterday that basically said, we don't know how the arbitration folks made this call here. How is it possible that they would have granted a lease that extended out 45 years without the requirement for anything above 5 years to be passed by the legislature? So they've kind of vacated everything, and so the threat now of paying somewhere between $14 million, and Attorney Mike Phillips said it could have easily gone to $20 million after everything was all totaled up, has now been removed from the veil of our eyes. One less thing to worry about, huh, Ken?
Good morning.
It is. It is. If for everybody, I think, except Champ Calvo. I guarantee that today is a frowny-faced day for Champ, because that means that the $14 million payday ain't coming.
That's true, but I heard that Airport did extend his legal service contract, so it wasn't a total loss for him at taxpayers' expense.
No.
But I looked at the many hundreds of pages of documents in this case when I jumped in the water, had my toe-to-toe with Tom Atta, and one of the things that was so glaring to me is even before any legal action started, Guam YTK owed the taxpayers of Guam $1.9 million in rent. That was before anything even started. So if do you rent a property, would you let your tenant get 3.5 years behind in their rent without any consequences?
Probably not. And as far as I'm concerned, after that kind of time without paying any rent on the property, as far as I'm concerned, you've vacated the lease. You've abandoned the lease.
Yeah, and it's a funny thing in contract law. Once you're out of compliance with the rent, the lease is void.
No longer in good standing. I can go in there and I will attach your property and I will sell it on the side to satisfy whatever debts you have.
Yeah, I used to manage rentals in Hawaii for one of our subsidiary corporations, and that was the justification for evicting people, because the moment that they were 30 days or more late in their rent, their lease was no longer in force. And that was held up by the Hawaii courts many years ago, and that's why in Hawaii, you miss your rent, you're promptly replaced by another tenant.
Oh, yeah. It's a free market, right?
Yeah. So, the same legal charade that took place to make it look like Guam YTK had a viable concern is the exact same legal charade behind GRRP.
Well, you can use charade if you want to, or charade, but my preference is kabuki.
All right, kabuki.
Yeah. Plenty of drama, no plot.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's a big legal fiction. So I just wanted to get in early because I have been shanghaied by Banana Dan, who forced me at phone call to meet him at Agate Marina this morning to go on an extended sail.
Get out of here. Get out of here. Right around the corner, you might be able to catch some dolphins this early.
Yeah, against my will, I'm being forced to drive down to Agate Marina to meet Banana Dan and go out. Oh, what a beautiful day. I'm here by the ocean now, and I'm looking out there, and it's sailor's delight.
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so, Liberation Weekend, and what a great way to get that started. Do you have any plans for the next couple of days, or are you just going to sit out and write your PowerPoint for your town halls?
I'm working on my town hall presentations because they start Wednesday. We have a lot of very important topics to go over, and one of the things I'm going to be doing is the State of the Island address, because
you're the other Governor Leon Guerrero.
Well, the state of the island has deteriorated. The debt bomb trigger is clicking down to zero rapidly, and this reminds me of remember the book Slaughterhouse-Five by Kurt Vonnegut?
I'm familiar with it.
Well, the subtitle of it was A Duty Dance with Death. Well, I'm calling government of Guam a duty dance with death.
I was riffing yesterday, Ken, on how it feels like wheels are coming off the bus. I'm hearing more and more complaints and really, really angry constituents. People that talk to me, people I get into conversations with that seem to be angry at everybody: the church, the legislature, the administration, the mayors. It seems like and all of the what should be the pillars of our functioning island. And even if one sucks, usually the other bunch of them will hold them up, and as a last resort, we were always able to go and find sanctuary in the church. And now so many people now looking at the church maybe with different eyes and through different lenses because of the pedophile priests and the large lawsuits that are looming against them. So it feels like everything that we should have that support us as a community, everybody got a problem with.
Yeah, well, it goes back to, the fact that our elected leaders lost contact with the people and made serving the politically well-connected insiders their primary focus. So when you look at around the region, I've been predicting for over a year that a recession is going to hit us. And when the recession hits us, one of the first things that drops is tourism. And our government should be preparing for that. Worst case scenario, tourism doesn't drop and they're in better financial shape than ever before. But if tourism does drop, and we're seeing with Cebu pulling out, United pulling out, Delta already pulled out, the only way we got the charter airlines coming in is if we subsidize the seats. And then you look at Singapore reporting an economic slowdown, Japan, China, South Korea all reporting economic slowdown. The International Monetary Fund has now put Australia on recession watch. So this region is contracting, but the government of Guam budget keeps expanding. And, those two things can't happen simultaneously for long without adverse consequences.
Part-time legislature. A friend of mine asking where we might be able to find your town halls.
There's a list online on our Guam C4PA Facebook page and guamc4pa.org starting the 25th, 7 o'clock, Santa Rita Community Center, and for the next 10 days.
Gotcha.
We'll also be published in the papers.
We'll talk more about that in the next couple of days. In the meantime, happy liberation to you, and maybe people will mark this as another kind of liberation.
I certainly hope so. That was the intent of the voter initiative process, so that we can take the back control of the legislature, which is supposed to be the people's house, and make it more responsive to the people than to politically well-connected insiders.
All right, buddy, I got to go because I got to get another outsider on the radio here and get his thoughts. I'll see you pretty soon, and safe boat.
I will.
All right, man. I'll talk to you. Ken LG, the other Governor, Leon Guerrero. It's 6:46 in the morning, 888-8255-888-TALK. Randy Landis says Guam's government is expanding faster than residential rental rates. And residential rental rates are through the roof around here. Lots of people that we're in competition with. You start looking around at some of the homes in your neighborhood, and a lot of cars in front of them. You know why? Because there's 3 generations of people that are living in that house. And that's why Tom Shea's there. He's delivering the next generation. I got Bob Agagri saying good morning from Seattle, Washington. Another listener from the upper left-hand corner of the state. Jose Flynn is online. Good morning, Peggy Leanne. Nice to have you there. And a bunch of other people that have chimed in over the last couple of minutes. Nate Horn and Edita Camarillo are online. George Flores, Yoy Tringil, Rut Rose Greeno. And online with me now, former Senator, His Honor Bob Klitsky. Good morning.
Good morning, Ray.
Tall tales, and it would have sounded like a tall tale before if you'd have said it, but it's finally true. The Supreme Court of Guam has thrown out the YTK suit, and it looks like the people of Guam, anybody that uses something that eventually goes through that port, is going to might not be hit as hard because we ain't going to have to pay that judgment now.
We're all winners, Ray.
We are not the opposing side, not the guys from the new and improved YTK. They're not winners.
Right.
They lost, and it brings into question the kind of panel they put together for the arbitration, doesn't it?
Well, I followed this along as closely as I could and read all the papers. And when the case went to the Supreme Court the second time, I didn't think that it was an easy call to make, because I thought that the arbitration award pretty well, I wouldn't say that it was conclusive, but I didn't see any glaring holes in it. And then something unusual for arbitration awards is that there were 3 arbitrators, and all 3 went the same direction, which is somewhat unusual because the way arbitration panels are usually set up, each side chooses their own arbitrator, and those 2 then choose the third one. So quite often, each arbitrator goes for the person or for the party that hired that particular arbitrator. So 2-to-1 decisions in arbitration panels are the rule.
Are more common, yeah.
Yeah, a 3-0 is pretty unusual, and that's what happened in this one.
Is there a next step that YTK can take?
I don't think so. I think the game's over for YTK.
Yeah, I'd seen a couple of people asking about that on Facebook, and I thought, is it something that you want to take up to the 9th, or based on what our Supreme Court has said, would the 9th say, we're not going to take this up just on the grounds of common sense?
Well, the 9th doesn't have any jurisdiction over what our Supreme Court does or doesn't do. The only
What would the next appellate step be then?
The U.S. Supreme Court.
All the way.
If it had jurisdiction, but I would hold that the U.S. Supreme Court doesn't have jurisdiction here because we don't have diversity of citizenship, and we don't have the case doesn't arise under federal law or Constitution.
Okay. All right. So done is done as far as you're concerned.
I think so.
And as I said, the good news for the people of Guam is that most of everything that gets brought in here goes through the port, and in order to pay that $14 million plus settlement, it would have been an increase in fees and tariffs, which would have been passed on to us.
That's right.
So that is good news out there. Well, all right, not much other than that. Wanted to get your thoughts on where it was. What about that case and what the next steps might be after that? I think I'm going to let you go back to bed.
Well, I'm still engaged in my show prep here. Ray, Tall Tales listeners are looking forward to an in-depth analysis of the Supreme Court decision and all the litigation, so I can't disappoint them.
Well, it's 28 pages worth. If you want to get it, I'm sure that we've got it up on the Guam Daily Post website, and if not, I'll be happy to send it along to you. And I don't know how easy of a read it's going to be, or how much of a once upon a time it turned out to be.
Well, I'm working through it right now. It's a typical jurisprudential jargon. There is, to me,
if anybody can figure it out, it's you.
I hope so. I think there is a takeaway from this, though, that goes beyond just the merits of the case, and that is that we might consider very seriously a statute that would bar arbitration contracts for any governmental agency.
So just skip that process, go directly to court?
Yeah, no more. If there's a breach of contract, go to court and do it the way we've always done it. So alternative dispute resolution came along about 25 years ago, and it was a real buzzword. A lot of people were saying, "Yeah, this is the way to go. It's faster, it's cheaper. We can choose arbitrators who have a lot of subject matter over certain areas, like, say, construction contracts, etc. And it's just going to be a whole lot better." But I just don't see it as turning out that way for us. And I suppose I would rather stick with something that's tried and true and not risk a future YTK when the average citizen is saying, "Huh?"
Look this way to me. Will you be riffing, I wonder, on the movements of the 35th Guam Legislature and a resolution that they had presented to Admiral Shoshana Chatfield, despite the proclamations and protestations of Prutehi Litekten?
Absolutely. I wonder if we have a farm team for the squad out here.
The odd squad?
The squad of four in the House of Representatives that would take offense at anyone who doesn't offend them.
It is possible. It is possible. I'll tell you what, program begins at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Bob Klitsky and Tall Tales as we move into the celebration. And he's not Ray Gibson, and so he's not making a big deal about his anniversary, but it was on the first working day after Liberation last year that you joined the airwaves here on the Point, and I'm just delighted about that.
Well, Tall Tales is very happy to have relocated to the Point. It's a good home for Tall Tales, Ray.
Well, I tell you what, all of the listeners seem to appreciate it with all of the telephone calls, and I'm hearing from sponsors that appreciate being a part of your program as well.
Thank you, Ray.
It's good talking to you. Happy Liberation, because you're just a few years shy of having been a part of it yourself.
Well, I am a World War II survivor. It's just that I did my surviving somewhere else.
Right. I got you. Bob Klitschko, I'll talk to you pretty soon.
Okay, Ray.
All right, 888-825-5888-TALK. I wonder if can I read this, Annette? I don't know. I'd asked online whether Annette was here, and she's responding me in a direct message. Just Annette is Peter's daughter. She and I worked together for 100 years, about 100 years ago, and she says, unfortunately, I'm not on Guam at this time, especially for the 75th Liberation out here in Los Angeles. Myself and a few Chamorro families are looking to bring back the Liberation celebration out there. How nice. Kicked off last year with a small group of families, then the numbers grew just last week as we honored 2 vets, and now we're looking forward to the 3rd annual Los Angeles Liberation 2020. Scouting a bigger location, too. Once we did figure out a date and location, you should make an impromptu visit. You know what? I'd love to, but Cebu Pacific's not flying anymore. Agwin, no, not joking about that. They're not flying. I just don't know if how to get out there. You know, to be honest with you, Annette, since my old man died, there's really not much reason for me to get on an airplane and go to the mainland United States. They say, oh, but you can go to conventions and seminars. I said, I can go and attend seminars online, and most of the people that I would need to talk to at most conventions I attend do business in Singapore at Broadcast Asia, so I'd rather stay around here. But if you can find somebody that will big shot me a ticket that will get me out there to Los Angeles, California, you know I'd love to hang out with you and the fam. All right, so we were talking earlier about the protestations of Putehi Litekzan, the Save Ritidian group, the Shoshana Chatfield, the Admiral. Is she going to be stepping down and making way for another helicopter guy, right? HC5? HC25 going to be taking over the title of Admiral before too much longer. And so the legislature, as they do for everything... Hey, sun came up this morning. I can find 8 people that will back a resolution on that. And so as the Admiral is making her way out, as they have done for every retiring Admiral since the history of time and resolutions, they made one for her. But the folks over at Putehi Litekzan said, half a day, honorable senators of the 35th Guam legislature. This morning, Putehi Litekzan, Save Ritidian, learned that in the midst of the community outcry regarding the firing range's harmful impacts to our sacred cultural sites and natural resources, Speaker Tina Munya-Barnes drafted and will be presenting a resolution commending Rear Admiral Shoshana Chatfield, who has consented to the desecration. There's very colorful language here. Outcry, the community outcry is their sacred cultural sites. And the word desecration in there for her leadership and contributions to the island of Guam.
Are you outcrying?
I forgot what time was the outcry. I missed it. I know that they had to get the thing over at Kapua Park last week on the Chamorro Village thing, and that was there were people there. I don't know if it was, if there were enough people to refer to it as an outcry. This commendation trivializes and undermines community efforts to safeguard our home. On behalf of the 14,000 petition signatories, Putehi Litekzan Save Ritidian urges lawmakers to remove their names from the list of co-sponsors for this ill-timed and grossly inappropriate resolution. Our elected leaders must be held accountable for actions that do not align with the will of the people. I agree with them on that one. Absolutely. It is their duty to defend the inalienable rights of the people of Guam and our basic human rights to clean water and a safe home. On that point, let me just say that it's the same water. We all going to drink from the same wells, guys. And if there's something bad in the waters that where they're doing firing ranges or whatever on, guess what? They're going to drink it, and we're going to drink it too. We're all going to die simultaneously from whatever it is that everybody's wetting the bed about. And as far as a safe home is concerned, we've got a lot to worry about here, more so than I think what is happening at a firing range. We've got this massive crime wave that is going on. We've got drug dealers getting slaps on the wrist in the courts, and we've got drug jugheads that are breaking into people's house, home invasion, and causing just all kinds of problems. People that can't handle their liquor, another big deal that we've got around here. So yeah, I think I understand what you're saying, but safety. I'm putting a different priority on that, and it's with a priority I want the legislature to concentrate on here. I will take issue with another point that you make in this sentence. Our elected leaders must be held accountable for actions that do not align with the will of the people. And the point that I will make here is there is not one person at the legislature or the governor's office that I consider a leader, or is certainly not my leader. They are my representatives. They work for me and they work for you. So please strike the words elected leaders from your vocabulary. There is no such thing. It's 7 o'clock in the morning, the radio station KUSG, Haggadah 93.3, The Point. Jerry Roberts coming into the studio. And Jerry, if you're listening, I'll ask you a question because I want your opinion. I deeply value your opinion on the subject of a 4-day work week. It's 7. Fox News Live's coming up next. After that, Kevin Kerrigan, all the big stories from the Guam Daily Post right here.
Drone. I'm Rich Dennison, Fox News. President Trump this afternoon announcing an American warship took action against an Iranian drone today. Fox's John Decker joins us live from the White House.
Amid heightened tensions between the U.S. and Iran, President Trump announcing that a U.S. Navy warship, the USS Boxer, destroyed an Iranian drone in the Strait of Hormuz.
The Boxer took defensive action against an Iranian drone which had closed into a very, very near distance, approximately 1,000 yards, ignoring multiple calls to stand down.
The president called the incident the latest of many provocative and hostile actions by Iran against vessels operating in international waters. Rich?
John. John, President Trump today says he was unhappy with his supporters chanting, "Send her back," after he spoke about Democratic Congresswoman Ilhan Omar at his North Carolina rally last night. The president continuing targeting the Minnesota lawmaker and 3 other congresswomen of color. A bill to fund health care coverage costs for 9/11 first responders and their families moving closer to a vote in the Senate. The measure, which received overwhelming support in the House, had faced opposition from Senators Rand Paul and Mike Lee. Senator Paul defending his resistance to the measure, saying he wants budget cuts included in any bills that increase spending.
I'm asking something very reasonable, that an amendment be included to consider whether we should pay for this, for taking money somewhere else in the budget. Doesn't actually reduce the deficit, just keeps the deficit from getting bigger.
Senators Paul and Lee say they've reached an agreement to advance the bill with a floor vote in the Senate next week. Jeffrey Epstein remains behind bars in New York, awaiting his trial on sex trafficking charges. A federal judge denying bond today. This is Fox News.
The summer of Jeep, Compass, Cherokee, Wrangler, Cars Plus in Mighty. Your new adventure starts now. Buy the 2019 Motor Trend SUV of the year and get a new Jeep Wrangler Sport for $268 per paycheck. Or get a new Jeep Compass Sport, only $167 per paycheck. Let them hear you coming in the new 2019 Jeep Cherokee. Buy for $205 per paycheck. And get financing as low as 1.99% on all Jeep models. Come see why you'll be kicking it at Cars Plus in Mighty. Driven by you.
65 years ago, Bank Pacific opened its doors to our community. As we celebrate, we offer you a special 65th anniversary personal loan rate for as low as 4.65%. For travel, back to school, a wedding, do whatever you want with the money. During July, we just want to give it to you for as low as 4.65% APR. It's our birthday present to you.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal opportunity lender, member FDIC, conditions apply.
A California man's charged with murder for the deaths of his autistic sons.
Ali Elmaz was already charged with insurance fraud after investigators said he intentionally drove his family off a Los Angeles pier in 2015, killing his 2 severely autistic sons. Now he's also facing 2 counts of murder and 1 count of attempted murder. His partner was also in the vehicle but survived. The boys, aged 8 and 13, couldn't swim and were strapped in child seats. Prosecutors say he bought $6 million in insurance policies to cover his family in the event of an accidental death, and say he got more than $250,000 in payouts from it, sending most of that back to his native Egypt. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
A man accused of killing a 3-year-old girl in what Milwaukee police say was a road rage shooting is jailed on a $250,000 cash bond. 39-year-old Antonio Bratcher faces first-degree reckless homicide and other charges, accused of firing a gun from his SUV into another vehicle Saturday after nearly colliding with it on the city's north side. That vehicle had 4 young children inside, and one of them, Brooklyn Harris, was killed by the gunfire. A controversial former drug company executive will remain behind bars.
He first gained notoriety for buying up the rights to a life-saving drug and jacking up the price from about $13 to $750 for a pill. Now, a federal appeals court upholding the securities fraud conviction against Martin Shkreli, who's serving 7 years in prison for looting a company he founded.
Fox's Lillian Wu. Well, there are signs the nation's election system may be under attack again. Microsoft saying it's detected more than 740 infiltration attempts by nation-state actors in the past year. And it says those efforts have gone after everything from U.S.-based political parties to campaigns and other democracy-focused organizations, including think tanks and other nonprofits. I'm Rich Dennison, and this is Fox News.
We know too well the inconvenience of not having power after a storm. You worry about food in the freezer going bad. Nights get hot. It's hard finding comfort when going to sleep. These are realities. But with solar and battery storage from Micronesia Renewable Energy, these realities can be a thing of the past. The solar works during the day and the batteries power your home at night. Call 632-2613 to see how solar plus battery storage can make life a little more convenient. MRE, the smarter choice.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,600 by calling Family Finance in Agutya at 475-4545, Upper Tumon at 647-5626, or in Dededo, 633-4473. Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959.
Liberate your mind with laughter. Budweiser presents Hypnosis Comedy coming to Guam Liberation Weekend.
Half a day, Guam. I am comedian hypnotist Rich Guzzi, and I can't wait to see you July 20th and 22nd at the Sheraton Laguna Hotel.
With local comedy legend Frank Rios opening the show. $25 general admission, $35 for VIPs. Tickets on sale at 76 Circle K stations and at Coffee Slut.
Doors open at 6.
Special thanks to Community First, the Guam Daily Post, Delta Tires, Trivision, and Choice Broadcasting.
You will have the time of your life.
Liberate Your Mind with Laughter is a GSPN production.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 7 minutes past 7 a.m. this Friday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. The Supreme Court of Guam has tossed out the $14 million arbitration award to YTK Corporation in a lease dispute over a failed fisheries business at the Port of Guam's Hotel Wharf. In its decision announced yesterday, the Supreme Court ruled that the arbitration award was void because it was based on a 45-year lease agreement on Hotel Wharf that was not valid. The port only had the authority to enter into a 5-year lease, but beyond that, any government property lease requires legislative approval, which the Port Authority did not have. The justices ruled that absent legislative approval of the lease, any attempt by the port to transfer possession of land under these circumstances would be illegal. The arbitration panel therefore exceeded its authority by attempting to enforce an illegal contract, and the amended arbitration award should have been vacated, wrote the justices. The previous owners of Guam YTK had ceased renewing their business license, but it was revived when purchased by attorney Champ Calvo's business, which launched the litigation leading to the arbitration award, which was decided by a panel of private lawyers. Attorney Mike Phillips, who represented the Port Authority and argued the case before the Guam Supreme Court, called the ruling vindication. The port does not owe these guys one penny, he said. Former Port General Manager Dan Tidenko told the Guam Daily Post that the arbitration award was sheer naked gluttony. The funding source has not yet been identified, and the authors acknowledge their measure may become moot if a rival bill introduced by Guam's delegate is passed by the U.S. Congress first. But Speaker Tina Muñoz-Barnes and Minority Leader Senator Will Castro are pressing on regardless. Yesterday afternoon, they introduced Bill number 181-35, which would establish the 75th Guam War Claims Fund and provide the governor with the authority to transfer up to $7.5 million into it. At a news conference following the introduction of the bill yesterday, Speaker Barnes said the measure authorizes the governor to work within the administration to find the funding. Once identified, the local funds would pay out war claims to more than 750 Minanco who have been waiting for reparation checks. No checks have been issued by the U.S. Treasury Department yet because former delegate Madeline Bordallo neglected to include a provision in her World War II Loyalty Recognition Act last year to authorize the release of reparation awards. After he succeeded Bordallo in January, Delegate San Nicolas learned of the error and introduced his bill to correct it. That bill comes up for a vote on the floor of the U.S. House next week. Both Speaker Barnes and Senator Castro yesterday acknowledged that if the San Nicolas bill clears Congress and is signed into law by Trump, their bill could become moot. "I don't think it's a race," said Barnes. "It's about working together. We're both headed in the same direction," said Castro. Their goal, they said, is to get checks issued as quickly as possible. We'll have more news after this.
Let's go for a drive.
Let's take a stroll.
Let's gallivant.
Let's go cruising.
We all have different ways to describe how we get up and go in our cars. But whatever you may call it, you can do more of it when you save 6% off your fuel purchases at any Shell station when you use your eligible Bank of Guam Visa and MasterCard credit cards. So stop by any Guam or CNMI Shell station and start saving today. Visit bankofguam.com for more information. Terms and conditions apply. Bank of Guam, the People's Bank. Member FDIC.
Mezcla Chamorro Fusion Bistro brings you island hospitality with a true taste of modern Chamorro cuisine. A bistro look that feels like home. Their menu features local and traditional flavors with a twist. From their famous Calaguan Hapa to fresh ahi poke salad and their award-winning barbecue ribs. Mezcla takes your favorite local dishes and serves them with extra flair that you'll only find at Mezcla Chamorro Fusion Bistro. Stop by their newest location in the Grand Plaza Hotel in Tumon. For reservations, call 969-2652. Mezcla, a true taste of Guam.
11 minutes past 7 a.m. here at The Point. Guam Delegate Michael San Nicolas has announced that the bill that fixes a technical error in Guam's World War II Loyalty Recognition Act will likely pass the U.S. House with bipartisan support next week. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi made the announcement during the Guam Liberation Gala at the U.S. Botanic Garden in Washington, D.C. on Wednesday. San Nicolas introduced H.R. 1365 to correct a flaw in the original war compensation bill. Once the bill clears the House next week, it will have to get through the Senate before it can land on President Trump's desk for final action. An activist group that has been critical of the military buildup has called on 11 Guam lawmakers to remove their names from a resolution praising outgoing Joint Region Marianas Commander Rear Admiral Shoshana Chatfield for her leadership and contributions to the island of Guam. In a statement sent to the lawmakers, the group Pertehi Litexan Save Retidian declared that the commendation trivializes and undermines community efforts to safeguard our home. The group called it an ill-timed and grossly inappropriate resolution. Speaker Tina Muñoz Barnes said she would not take it back. She told the Guam Daily Post yesterday that she respects Pertehi, but the resolution commending Chatfield was also a matter of respect for the Rear Admiral and her willingness to cooperate with the legislature during her command. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now take a look at our weather.
Okay, good idea. It says partly sunny skies today, Kevin, with isolated showers. Thunderstorms in the forecast today as well. Mike's explained that 100 times, so just anticipate that there could be some of that falling on you today. Highs 89 degrees, overnight lows about 79. Not too much by way of wind, only about 10 or 15 miles an hour. Nothing that we are not used to. Sunset tonight, earlier 6:51, sunrise this morning, later about 6:02. And that's what we've got for you. Before we get into, I want to put a picture here. I was showing earlier an online picture of one of our favorite birds. I've got 2 or 3 of these that live in the backyard of the house. But then Arlene Steffi sent me this morning pictures of these birds.
Oh, nice.
This is not National Geographic. This is somewhere around the University of Guam.
There you go. Those look like Puffin-style birds. You can tell by the big beaks. I don't know what the exact scientific name is, but when they have those big beaks.
Java Sparrow.
Java Sparrow.
That's what it says right underneath the doggone of this one here. You can barely make it out, but it says Java Sparrow there. Java Sparrow 1 and 2 and a third one just as a backup.
There you go.
I think I think that's awesome. I mean, apparently they didn't know there were brown tree snakes here.
Yeah, or they don't care.
Or they don't care. Or it's hard to get a sense of scale. It's possible that these are like 8-foot birds.
It could be.
With the massive wingspan, like 747s. I don't know. I wasn't there to take the picture, but thanks, Arlene, for sending that out here. Here's an image of the radar and what they had to fly through to get here.
Yeah, some interesting things going on the radar right now. Now we have some showers approaching from the east.
Yeah, they're coming in fast.
They are, and they're holding together, which is kind of a surprise because we're going through the end of the diurnal cycle. So expect, especially looks like north side up around the Air Force Base and northern portions of Dededo, and then also it looks like another cell might be moving over central areas or just south of central. And so we'll see how this goes. The other thing I'm noticing is it looks like there's a little rotation in that cloud mass, and that's kind of normal when you get these big thunderstorms that form up because it's evacuating air up into the upper levels, and so when it does, it pulls in air from other places, and the natural tendency is for things to start to spin counterclockwise when that happens. But these things just flare up and go away and flare up and go away. It's a natural, normal thing, but I thought it was interesting to see that this morning on radar. Looking on satellite.
Natural, normal thing. That sounds like something from a movie I saw.
Yeah, or a song. Looking at the satellite right now, and Guam is right there. There we are, and we can see this big upper level low to the north of us, and that's really one of the reasons why we have a chance of thunderstorms and this arc of clouds drifting over Guam in the southern parts of the CNMI. That's a upper level trough, and so when you get that, you get a chance for thunderstorms because of what they call divergent air aloft. I'm also looking very closely at this massive clouds associated with it far to the east that's actually starting to clip this way as well. Depending on how well this low holds together and how far to the west that it moves over the next 24 hours, it'll be interesting to see if those bring any showers to us maybe tomorrow. National Weather Service, though, says Liberation Day should be mostly dry. It'll be pretty warm. Make sure you hydrate and cover up because it's going to be like that.
Yeah, I already told you what my definition of hydration was. As far as covering up is concerned, we've got a nice big pala that we're going to be underneath.
I'm bringing a case, man, and I'm drinking them all.
7:15. That's all right with me. And if you run out, you'll be able to find somebody else that's got plenty more. Anyway, 7:15 in the morning. That's news and weather together here on The Point.
Business travel just got easier. Take your data plan with you for only $10 a day to all 17 Data2Go destinations. Never worry about additional data roaming charges when you go where your business needs you. The US, China, Thailand, and so much more. Have the assurance you need to check emails, surf the web, and stay connected. Call 688-2677 today to make sure your account is Data2Go ready. Docomo Pacific. Better together.
That's my buddy. We fight over sandwiches at the gas station all the time. 7:16 in the morning. It is the Ray Gibson Show, brought to you by Cars Plus, driven by you and driven by the summer of Jeep. You got all the way until the end of the month to be able to take advantage of great savings on Jeep Compasses, Jeep Cherokees, the Grand Cherokee, and my favorite Jeep of all, the Wrangler. Find it, test drive it, and drive one home today. Solar with battery storage now available to Guam homeowners through Micronesia Renewable Energy. Their number 632-2613. Portions of the program are brought to you as well by American President Lines, global presence with a local home. And if you're thinking about someplace to get happy hour tonight, may I suggest Ruby Tuesdays? Yeah, 4 to 6, and most days and all day Tuesday, select draft beers, wines, and sangrias or the Tipsy Palmer or Ruby Relaxer, $5 or less. They got $5 apps as well. Check them out for happy hour tonight at Ruby Tuesdays, Guam.
It's the Ray Gibson Show. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
What's up? What's up, everybody? I got my bro Tom Tahadzi there. Tom, aches and pains have been relieved. I appreciate you thinking about me that way. Rudy Magallanes says, Ray, check out that drone. Check that drone out. It's a good teaching tool for kids. Which drone are you talking about? Did I miss a drone story somewhere? Oh, no, it's the one that shoots is it shooting fireworks at people, right? I think I saw something like that on Facebook, one of the social medias, where they were making kind of jokes. They figured out a way to weaponize a drone with fireworks.
Oh,
so it
yeah,
goes up in the air and like shoots it at people. That's cool. See, Jess Limtiaco's online, and Prudential Meno. I got Richard Leon, Ed and Karen Untalan, Rai St. Nicholas. Crescinda Calvo-Uggan is hanging out with us this morning, as is Alicia Canate and Vanessa Malumai, Sandra De Leon Guerrero. Dave Torrey's there. Renee Logie is online this morning. That's it. Day is made. Thank you so much. Timothy Poe and Phil Schraggy from the Micronesia Mall is online today. Dr. Tom Shea joining us, and Jose Flynn, Rob Agagi up in Seattle, Washington, and plenty more as the morning continues here, and we make it through another one of these no frowny face Fridays. There's nothing. Look around if you want to, and if you want to be that guy that goes out and finds the bad news, you go ahead, but it's not going to be me. I'll give you my riff, generally positive on a lot of things that are going on today, up to and including the fact, the top story just about everywhere, the YTK $14 million award has been deemed illegal. The judges of the Supreme Court of Guam said, no way, Jose, and that is good news. It means that we are not going to have to spend up on everything that comes through the port as a result of this award. $14 million that Rory is not going to have to figure out how to pass along in the forms of tariffs and port user fees. So we dodged the bullet on that one. Are there others out there? Well, Ken LG says yes, and we spent a little bit of time talking about that in the last hour. In the meantime, we do have to take care of some business stuff, up to and including where the markets ended up today, and everybody up by just a little bit or so. Dow Jones Industrial Average 27,222, almost 223. They're up by 3 points. Nasdaq closed at 82.07. They're up by 22 points, and the S&P 500 at 29.95. They're up by 10 and about a half points here. Looking at the commodities that I like to look at, oil continues to trend down. Both of them today. West Texas crude yesterday, 56.57 today, 55 and 30, better than $1 worth of a decrease in the price of West Texas crude. That's awesome news. Tapis moving in the same direction, 69.28 yesterday, today 67.91. Maybe it could be. It would be interesting to see if they go from
down a dime.
Yeah, dime and then up a dime and then back down a dime. It'd be nice if we could get something like that.
I don't think that's.
Come on, guys! Liberation Weekend. You know you want to do it. You know you want it. I'll tell you what. I'll go in there and I'll buy 2 12-packs of beer, and I'll buy twice as many Slim Jims.
They should just drop at $1 and take the hit, man. Because they're making record profits anyway.
But here's the thing, though, is a lot of the gas companies here are also doing business up in Saipan, and my understanding is that the Saipan gasoline is still trading under $1, like $3.90 or something like that, because they still have the quote emergency in place. They're still trying to recover from the typhoon.
I think Lou should announce an emergency. Would that work?
Nationalize the gas stations.
There you go.
Yeah. Do you really want to give that kind of power to, well, anybody there, Jer? Yeah, think about that. Extra points coming up in a second. But yesterday I was riffing a little bit for fun on the idea of a couple of school districts that have gone to 4-day the school weeks.
4-day school weeks.
4-day school weeks.
Yeah.
And I was reading up on something this morning and just saw the headline. I'm not going to say I dive deep into the article. You know me, I'm too lazy for that. But the headline was a little bit provocative, talking about more businesses looking at the idea of a 4-day work week.
It's been out there for a long time.
Yeah.
People doing it. I mean, it's possible. So I know people that have done it, companies that have done it. And some have gone back.
Are they still doing it?
No. They have. Most have reverted back to the 5-day. And the reason, there was one store, for example, I'll give you an example. There was a tire store in L.A., an advertising guy, stopped working in agencies, and he opened up a thing called the 4-day tire store. And for years, he did this. And it was Monday through Thursday, and Friday it says gone fishing, Saturday gone fishing, Sunday gone fishing. And he's a creative guy, and it worked out for a while, but then it went away because apparently the customers couldn't adapt exactly the way he wanted them to.
Is it possible that he just picked the wrong 4 days to do it?
I don't know. I mean, he was open for years.
Yeah.
Apparently he did okay for a while.
Okay, well, I mean, that's a retail story. What about, what if somebody in the insurance game, in the banking game?
I don't know. Well, banking would be a different story than insurance. Because you got a lot of customer flow. And on Friday, traditionally, banks are open later, till 6 o'clock. Because people get paid on Friday. They want to put their money in Friday.
As it should be, yeah.
So maybe you go Tuesday through Friday instead, and no banking on Monday.
Do you still give the employees 40 hours a week?
Of course you do. Yeah, you have to do that. So you have 4
You're gonna have
10-hour
longer,
days.
longer days.
Well, the
and
other
longer
factor
shifts.
is but if you have a 4-day work week, you don't have to have everybody on the same 4-day schedule.
There is that. Yeah. You stagger everything out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're still open.
What are you thinking about?
I think when you're dealing with businesses who provide services like tire places and things, you can't have the place only open 4 days a week.
I
adjusting the
bristle on
schedules would be
Sundays.
okay.
I bristle on Sundays where I'm out. I want to buy something. I want to go eat a dinner. I want to go and walk into an establishment, and they're closed because they're closed on Sundays.
Yeah,
and that kind of makes me. And it's like, look, I know the people that run it. They're not religious. They just we could totally do another night. I don't know why they don't move the shifts around so that they can make it so that these places are open on Sunday. And that's in fact, frankly, that's what some people are looking at with a couple of these new places that are coming up in Agania. Is if you want to guarantee a decent start on your business, open on Sundays, because there's all kinds of people driving around looking for some place to eat down there, and you can't find them.
Yeah, so I think if you want to consider 4 days, then I would say stagger the schedules of your employees. And that way you're not inconveniencing your customers.
Yeah, because the customers have expectations anymore. What's supposed to be what? 7:24, it's time for Jerry Roberts to bring you the Extra Point, brought to you here by Guahan Insurance Services. And our friends over at Ed and Karen's online actually listening again early, so you need to do a good job here.
Hey, Ed and Karen.
It's Jerry Roberts and the Extra Point.
You're the CEO of one of the biggest and best-known corporations in the world. One day, somebody famous calls you out over your pay and the pay of your workers, and the story ends up going viral. What do you do? We'll find out what Bob Iger, head of the Walt Disney Company, decided to do next on The Extra Point.
It's important to have claims process that works for you. At Guahan Insurance Services, we make things simple and convenient. Same door you walk in to purchase your insurance is the same door you open to file your claim. We can't pretend that the car insurance claims process is fun, but we can promise a hassle-free and speedy recovery without any runarounds. For your home, auto, and business insurance, visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center on Marine Corps Drive in Tamuning. Don't forget to like us on Facebook or give us a call at 475-1162 or text 929-SAVE. That's 929-7283.
The subject of CEO salaries flares up into the news once in a while, and it happened again a few days ago when an heir to the Disney fortune, Abigail Disney, took to the media to criticize Bob Iger, Walt Disney Company's CEO, over his salary, which is reported to be $66 million a year and is 1,000 times more than the average pay for Disney employees in 2018. We've seen similar discussions surrounding Walmart and Amazon, and both have raised pay for their lowest income workers. Iger and Disney have been the target of Abigail Disney's scorn before, as she claims that many Disney employees are struggling to make ends meet with minimum wage jobs and poor working conditions, a very different situation from what her grandfather, Roy O. Disney, and great-uncle Walt Disney had sought to create in building the company. Miss Disney said she visited the Anaheim location of Disneyland, speaking with many workers, claiming every one of them had grievances over low compensation. So where was Iger's mistake? Before making her public statements, Abigail Disney sent him an email on the issue, and he ignored it. Instead of connecting with her directly, he had his HR department contact Ms. Disney and cite their $150 million funding for employee education. When she emailed again and asked for a reply to her question, he again ignored her. This wasn't Joe Average Citizen reaching out. This was a member of the family of the original owners of the company. Even if you know she's going to end up causing you a headache, I think you have to answer her email, maybe with something like this. Thanks for the note, Abigail. As you know, my compensation is set by the Disney Board of Directors, who felt the package was fair. You and I share the belief that all workers should be paid fairly, and our team consistently reviews our practices to try to achieve that, etc., etc. Instead, no reply, and the issue goes public, and now Iger and his company are caught in a media firestorm. They call Miss Disney's accusations baseless and egregious, a grossly unfair exaggeration. They continually discussed their educational initiatives, yet not once have they referenced the pay issue. They skirted around it, which has not been lost on the public. Many online comments reference Disneyland's high prices, long lines for rides, an increasingly poor overall experience, and singular focus on generating profits for their shareholders at the expense of customers and employees. Iger and the Disney company may not have been able to avoid the unfavorable publicity in any case, but avoiding the pay issue has resulted in additional scrutiny, and now they appear to be evasive. That's not a good look when you tell the world that yours is the happiest place on earth. Perhaps there's a lesson or two in there for the rest of us. That's the Extra Point. Get out there and make something good happen today. For 93.3, The Ray Gibson Show, Guahan Insurance Services, and First Hawaiian Bank. I'm Jerry Roberts.
Happiest place on earth. I remember standing in a long line at Disneyland once upon a time, one of those out in the frontier land, trying to get up on, trying to get onto whatever the water ride was. And I was watching some people that were in that long line with me. And there's a couple of places in that line where you pass by where there's like a river running, a little water attraction, something there. And I saw these people throwing coins into it. And I thought, what are you doing? Why would you give these people more money? I don't understand it. It won't make the lines any shorter. You can wish all you want, but the line is not going to get any shorter. We're still going to be here for an hour.
Oh, or longer.
Or longer.
You know, it's like $75, $80 to get in now. And if you're lucky, because they have sometimes...
Well, they got fast passes and things like that.
Even with that, you're still going to spend time in line. And the thing is, with all that you're spending there, family of four is going to drop $400 to $500 while they're there. The key is that you're only going to go on 2 to 3 rides, maybe, in that 8 hours. You're going to do a lot of walking and a lot of sitting, and maybe eating some average food, and then you're going to leave.
And I've discovered in my lifetime that there is no good time ever to go to some of those parks.
No.
You just think, well, it's summertime here. It's going to be crowded. I'll wait until it's spring or fall or the dead of winter or something like that. And you can go to Tokyo Disneyland in the dead of winter, and the place is still packed.
It's jammed.
Yeah, but it's crazy because the girls are still wearing short skirts in the cold. I'll never get through that. But anyways, 7:30. A couple of other businessy things to take care of before we're all done here. The Dave Del Sola, and this is vitally important. He's told the story on the air with me a couple of times. They're going to be doing some training sessions down there and opportunities for businesses that might be on the wrong side of the law in terms of OSHA, in terms of compliance, in terms of fair chances in hiring and things like that. And so they'll do some training, and they'll help you through these steps before somebody from the Department of Labor comes and calls on you to serve you with the process.
Yeah. Good idea.
Concrete shoring, formwork safety awareness. This will take place on the 25th. Fair Chances Hiring Process Act will take place in the 30th. There's a bunch of them. 30th of July, August 22nd, September 24th, and October 24th. This is going to be an ongoing thing. So if you're in the business of hiring people and are aware of the Fair Chances hiring process, but don't understand how it works, get in there before you say no to somebody on a job and he goes to the Department of Labor and drops a dime on you. It's a smart move for folks. Powered industrial trucks. There's construction and general industry reporting requirements and disability law in the workplace. This is the most important one. August the 15th, disability law in the workplace. The rules change constantly, and there's somebody is going to come up to you and say, well, I need to do this, and is there an accommodation that you can make? And whatever you think or know about the ADA from back when you were in business school a few years ago, it's different now.
Yeah, sure.
And there are people that will talk to you with very serious sounds in their voice, give you a hard time about it. They won't do it. You show up at these things and you get like a little pass. We understand that there have been difficulties in the past, and well, let's work through this with a little bit of education. And actually, if you show up at one of these things, especially if it becomes a Fed DOL issue, if you say, well, I've been working towards it. I was working with Dave Del Sola and Harold Parker from Guam Legal Services, actually attended the class. It might go better for you.
Maybe.
It might go better for you. And Bruce Boris over at PTAC wanted me to let you know there is a wide area workflow. This is another one of these free sessions for you. If you've got a federal contract and need to get paid, Guam PTAC will explain federal invoicing procedures using the wide area workflow system. Mouthful. 7:32 in the morning, and that's it.
So are we going to a 4-day work week here at the radio station?
No, we will next week. Next week is going to be a 4-day work week.
So you're sampling the 4-day work week next week.
Oh, listen, I had to sample on the 4th of July. I like that one, too. That was, the only thing I didn't like about it was on a Thursday. And I don't, me and Mike want to get something going here, and we need to abolish Thursday holidays. Or just get rid of them completely. I'm not saying that you get rid of the holiday. Just move it to the nearest Friday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because it'd be otherwise.
Or the next Monday. I mean, Monday sucks.
Monday. Yeah. So it would be less suck if we could celebrate Thanksgiving, say on a Monday, as opposed to Thanksgiving on Thursday. Most people take the Friday off anyway.
Yeah,
that's my recollection.
Yeah, if I were going to change my company to a 4-day work week, I would abolish Monday work.
See,
people just aren't in the mood for it.
Well, then Tuesday becomes Monday.
We'll take that day off too. Or tell you what, half day Tuesday. Let me renegotiate this with you guys a little bit later on. At 7:33 in the morning, that's Jerry Roberts in the Extra Point. Happy Liberation. Viva Liberation. We'll see you and I in our white legs over on the parade grounds somewhere. It is time for headlines from the Guam Daily Post. Here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. In the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning, Guam Attorney General Levin Camacho is joined with 37 other territorial and state attorney generals in an appeal to the U.S. Food and Drug Administration for an assessment of the risks posed by the growing number of CBD products and guidance on enforcing regulations that apply to them. In a news release yesterday, Camacho said Guam consumers need to know that any CBD products that they are drinking, eating, or putting on their bodies are safe and are being marketed accurately. Companies across the country have started to manufacture and sell a variety of CBD-related products, which some claim as a treatment for a wide variety of health concerns, but these businesses are operating throughout the country without much oversight, states the release. In their letter to the FDA, the Attorney Generals expressed their hope that the FDA continues to explore manufacturing, testing, and marketing best practices so that consumers are not at risk of misleading advertising or harm to their health. Cebu Pacific Airlines will discontinue its Guam service in December. The carrier has announced that it's pulling out of Guam because of limited flight slots in Manila and its need to shift aircraft to routes with higher demand. The budget airline's exit from the Guam market leaves Philippine Airlines and United competing for direct Guam-Manila flights. In a statement, the discount airline said its entry into the Guam market gave the traveling public a more affordable alternative, but despite all efforts, the Guam route is no longer viable. The airline launched its Guam route in March 2016. The last round-trip flights between Manila and Guam will be on December 7th. The Guam International Airport was briefly evacuated yesterday morning after smoke began rising from a moving walkway near Gate 10 on the second floor of the terminal. Guam Fire Department spokesman Kevin Riley said there were no flames and no injuries. The building was evacuated as a precaution to allow the air to clear after the smell of smoke filled the terminal building. Airport Deputy Executive Manager John Kanata said no outbound or inbound flights were affected. It happened after all the early morning flights had departed, he said. Kanata said technicians from Otis Elevator were called in to figure out what caused the walk-a-lator to begin emitting smoke. It could have been an overheated motor or the belts that move the walkway could have slipped out of alignment, he said. They're waiting for the technicians to complete their assessment to learn the exact cause. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
I will, after I say good morning to Robert Underwood and Charlie Hermosa and Kenny Williams and others that are online and watching this morning. Lola Calvo, I see you there lurking on my feed. Where are you going to be on Liberation Day? It's, and Sam Beanie's there, Keith Parsky. Pete actually talking about being able to get to Orlando in January. He says it's a great time to go to the parks. We once had to buy winter gear. January in Orlando, and he says there's no lines out there. Why would that be? Duke Skytalker from the Weather Center?
Because it's the middle of winter.
Is Orlando up there enough that you'd feel
absolutely.
Really?
Yeah. No, I as a matter of fact, in
I think of like Orlando is like Guam.
No, not even close. In 1979. They had a big freeze.
Because I'm from here, just dumb.
But they had a big freeze that extended well down into even south of the Tampa area, and Orlando's actually north of that. So it can get pretty chilly in the winter times, but not always.
He said pretty chilly. It's 7:37 in the morning, and that is iConnect time. Run to the nearest iConnect and learn what you can about saving some money on things that you need all the time, like mobile and internet.
Half a day, this is Congressman Nicholas. Our office is currently visiting our villages, providing contact information for our office and taking any inquiries we may be of service with. All vehicles and staff are appropriately identified for your safety. Please feel free to let our constituent outreach team know how we can be of service to you, and thank you for your kindness.
This ad was paid for with official funds from the office of Congressman Michael F.Q. San Nicolas.
Hey, they got new pancakes over at IHOP. I don't know if you've heard. I don't know if anybody told you about them. 100% USDA choice black Angus beef, all natural for you. You're going, wait a second, you said pancakes. That's not You're right, it's cheeseburgers, but they've got this entire menu here of things that, you know what, which is between us, it's a big hamburger sale that's going on. So if you like hamburgers and you love great prices, want to go check them out today at IHOP.
Viva Guam! As Guam celebrates 75 years of liberation, Nambo Insurance honors the brave heroes who dedicated their lives to fight for our freedom. With great pride, we salute those who made our liberation possible. At Nambo Insurance, they share the same dedication to serve our community. From offering reliable home, auto, motorcycle, and business insurance to providing friendly holiday service, Nambo Insurance is dedicated to serving Guam. From your Nambo family, happy liberation, Guam.
Can't you see I'm busy here? Do we need a traffic report on the Friday before it gets to be Liberation Weekend? All right, let me take a look at the traffic gizmo and see if there's anything happening out there that is going to slow you down more than normal. Is there any spot where it is red now and it shouldn't be? Yes, apparently there is. Looks like that area up in Sinahanya by the Agano Shopping Center, Route 4 actually coming outbound. If you're heading towards the McDonald's and that area, the lights don't seem to be working in your favor, so expect delays through there. Rest of Route 4 looking okay until you get to about 4 and 10. Nothing major there. Also looking at Harmon Loop Road, Route 27 and 16. The intersection looks like things are backed up all the way in one direction, so expect delays if you're headed southbound through there. Intersection of 1 and 3, also pretty busy, also pretty tough getting off of Route 3 today. And the Jollibee intersection over by the Micronesia Mall is working a little bit harder than it should be right now. Otherwise, everything looks like it's running clean. Don't see too much over by 8, 10, and 16. If you're on 8 or 10 right now, should be smooth going wherever you're headed. 740 right now traffic here in The Point.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. Half a day. I'm Rita Tidegui of Manila, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Ingatan ang iyong tahanan. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
Yep. I got coolness here. I'm looking at the names in Facebook Live. You know, it's the company you keep, right? Uncle Robert's there. See if we can get him. Andre Bainham's online. I'm wondering what's going through his head. You never have to wonder what's going through Cousin Troy's head. He's online this morning as well. Some interesting pieces that you've done in the last couple of days. Sandra De Leon Guerrero and who else is playing around here this morning? 888-8255-888-TALK is the telephone number here on the radio station if there's something you want to talk about. Otherwise, the topics that we mess around with this morning, just coming to us from the Guam Daily Post. There is one piece of sadness today, and I don't want to make a frowny face while I'm talking about this. As much as I want to express my disappointment with the news that Cebu Pacific is going to be cutting the Guam route. They've got things are costing more and limited number of slots that are available for them in their home airport. And they need to be able to take best advantage of it. Nothing personal, guys. It's just business. They're going to be looking out for more profitable routes. Even the low-cost carriers need to be worried about things like that. So I see what's going on. And like I said, I was there from the beginning working with a couple of people. Ingrid was her name. And she used to swing by the radio station every once in a while. And whenever I do a promotion, I never actually flew Cebu Pacific. And maybe that's part of the problem, huh? But I know a lot of people that did. And, in fact, I put a lot of people on those airplanes. We'd send people to go off to Resort World Manila or MOA and go watch concerts and shows and things like that. I always stuck them on Cebu Pacific airplanes, and they always came back and said they had a great time. So I'm sure it didn't have anything to do with even the service ethic on a low-cost airline. But I am a little bit disappointed that they're pulling out. I hope that they are replaced by somebody else. There seems to be some decent low-cost carrier business floating around in this part of the world, so maybe they will be replaced with somebody else that will answer our prayers for lower airfares and more flight schedules and things like that. A couple of guys on the Facebook Live feed this morning saying, well, it was nice to have a third player here. Because it forced the other two players to reevaluate their fares, in many cases drop them and do more fare specials. So just a reminder, United has got a pretty interesting fare special that is out there these days. I think I've got a note from Paula Monk, and I might share some of those numbers with you. But it's complex. It's because you got this number of days between this dates, and you can only travel Monday through Thursday or something like that. I never understand how they put those things together, but they do. And if your trip can meet that kind of calculus, you might be able to save some money. Auntie Narissa is online as well. Is this my Uncle Robert? Uncle Robert, are you there?
I'm here.
I'm so glad. I'm so good. So I got both of my favorite Underwood auntie and uncle online this morning watching me on the feed. That's awesome. So just for clarity and to make sure people understand what it is that we're doing, if you just tuned in and going, hey, he's putting his Uncle Robert on the radio. Wonder why he does that. Because otherwise he's retired and there's nobody else to talk to except the Orchids and Auntie Narissa. And he's got things in his head. And I've got things in my head, and I need to know how to navigate some of these conversations. So I always bring in my Uncle Robert to help guide me, kind of my consigliere, if you will. So, good morning, Uncle Robert. Viva Liberacion.
Well, viva Liberacion. First liberation, then freedom.
What's that?
First liberation, then freedom.
Are we not free?
Not quite.
What do we need to do next then?
We need to figure out what our exact relationship is going to be like in the future. That's the final key.
On Facebook, there's a thing. It's a married, single, divorced, and then it's complicated. Maybe that's ours with the United States.
Right. And a lot of arguments, and maybe there's a need for some counseling.
Right. Well, I know a couple of people that might be able to counsel through that relationship. But what we did, I guess the plan so far has not worked. Or the one where there's bellyache and complaining and whining to the United Nations. Maybe there's something else that we ought to think of, and maybe we ought to just forget about all of the shackles that we put on our referendums and go out and just have an election and ask people what they want.
Well, I think we have to honor our history. That's the point. And I really believe that, sometimes people kind of make a contrast between celebrating Liberation Day as if, there was something amiss about it if we celebrate Liberation Day, or that if you celebrate Liberation Day, you must be happy with your relationship right now. And neither one is actually accurate. I believe that Liberation Day has its own dynamic. I mean, the people who experienced that laughed and cried and had emotions that were that are incredible, and they were relieved from a heavy burden and a heavy time. And we should honor those people who experienced that, as well as the people who came off the ships. My gosh, don't forget they made sacrifices too.
Absolutely. So, but when you say let's honor history, and everybody's got a different version of history, and there might be people that listen to that and say, well, let's honor the last 75 years of history and all of the different people now that make up and compose our island, and the investments and the sacrifices that they have made living here in the last 75 years. Does their voice not count?
Well, their voice does count, but their voice counts every day, every time we have an election. But when we have the final step in this process, and decolonization is not just an idle argument. Decolonization is a process that you're trying to complete. It was acknowledged in the Treaty of Paris. It was acknowledged in the Organic Act that the Chamorro people, who became citizens by virtue of the Organic Act, their process has not yet been completed. And it's like everything else you do in life. Even if you say that you have logic and you experience with you, and maybe even the law with you, it is easier to resolve this grievance and put it aside because we'll never have a society that moves forward. That's my point of view. And I've had that point of view for a long time.
Nobody disagrees with the idea that we need to find an end to the process. I think it just seems to be an argument on what we believe that process to be. And I think we've got to get all of the smart guys together and put together a plan that will answer finally that question of what do we want out of the relationship with the United States? What do we want for ourselves as you know, we pilot our way through this new century?
And this is a particularly propitious moment because, you know, every Liberation Day, people interpret that Liberation Day experience in light of what we're experiencing now.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not a fair comparison. That was an entirely different time, and it was an amazing series of circumstances which we bring honor to. But, you know, as we work our way through, there's many milestones in our history as a people, as Chamorro people, as people of Guam, and that's one of them. It's a significant one. We have a holiday, and we try to have a parade, and you know, we turn. Hey, you know what we do with the parade?
Yeah.
We turn a 2-hour parade into a 4-hour parade. That's what we do every year.
We got those skills. Uncle Robert. Hey, a very interesting story here about the Y2K and the pullout. Not the pullout, but the determination by the Supreme Court that the $14 million award is invalid. I thought that was pretty interesting and not very, very unexpected. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it was pretty clear from the beginning that you can't sign that kind of an agreement and expect to make it hold through. You know, having worked in various government agencies, you can't obligate the government of Guam to a long-term contract on the basis of a signature or a weak moment, even by a director or a board. You know, it just doesn't work. And obviously, you know, I'm interested in now how the coverage is and how everybody was on the side of the port all along. That's even a more fascinating story. Yeah. I was with the port all along.
Even when I wasn't with them, I was with them. I thought it was interesting. Rory on the front page of the Guam Daily Post today says no one could have predicted the outcome with all certainty. Mike Felix seemed to be pretty confident the entire time.
Yeah, and it was, you know, I mean, I'm sure, you know, Mike doesn't always win, but he wins when it counts.
When did he do what? When did he lost one? I got to remember. I got to scratch my head really hard on that. Well, you know, one of the things
he lost when he represented me.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Did I ever tell you the story?
I don't fault him for that.
Did I ever tell you the time when Mono lost re-election and Uncle Robert's at the radio station? He said, "Boy, that's a tough one." I looked at Uncle Robert. I said, "You know, she's not the first one of us to lose an election."
That's true. That's true.
7:50 in the morning. A lot of people in social media went up in arms over the weekend at the sight of somebody, a compact migrant, taking a leak on what I've now begun to refer to as the Golden Shower Highway on Route 8. You got any thoughts on that and what we need to do? Because this concept of let's have town halls and bring everybody in to talk about taking some people and civilizing them don't seem to be working.
Well, I think we ought to hand out canisters. That's the ultimate solution. I get that. Hey, believe me, I've had the urge. Maybe he should have pulled off a little bit further along. But
don't say pull off with regard to that story.
Okay, but I just yeah, of course it's disturbing and at many different levels. But I'm really more concerned about the violence than the urinating in public.
I know, but it just seemed to go hand in hand, and it just seemed to not be able to get the message through to certain people in that community on what it's like to live someplace where there are more rules of decorum, if you will. And maybe that's allowed where they're from, but it's not allowed here, and we don't seem to be able to get the message to these guys. It's been mentioned to me that it's not the entire community. There's like 30 or 40 guys that are just they were dumb when they were there, and now they're dumb here. We just got to figure out a way to get the dumb ones off island.
Well, but Ray, I have seen people urinate in public several times on the course of my life, but nobody videotaped them. So that's the difference.
Well, because when you and I were peeing outside, the cell phones with cameras had not been invented yet.
That's right. That's the point.
There is the point there. I'm delighted because we got a couple of new places opening up in the downtown Agutnia area. We got Crab Daddy that is coming up, and Carabao Beer has opened this weekend, and there's a lot of people going in there and getting Kolsch's and porters and things like that. Any thoughts on blossoming or what feels like kind of a re-blossoming of the downtown area?
Well, I think it's wonderful. I just hope that they figure out parking and or transportation, because as these businesses come, then obviously we're going to have paid parking or something like it. And but what is Carabao Beer made from? That's what I want to know.
Well, it's right there on a sign.
Yeah.
You ought to try their buffalo wings. Actually, they don't have that just yet. And another topic before I let you run that come up over the course of the week, a little bit of a conversation with Maria Pangilinan over at the Election Commission, is they're pondering the idea of making Election Day for the general election a holiday. It's been that before, and unfortunately, without any Underwoods running seriously in the elections, the voter turnout has plummeted. Voter turnout, Uncle Robert, has plummeted because you're not in any of these races.
Well,
and now they're desperate for a solution, and now they want to have a government holiday or a paid holiday for Election Day. What do you think?
Well, it used to be a holiday until I ran in 2006. That was the first time that it was not a holiday. So I thought you were saying if an Underwood was in the election, it's not that more people will turn out, it's that they'll never have a holiday.
Yeah, that's right. No, it just I remember that happening, going, they're screwing Uncle Robert. We got to make sure all the Democrats can take the day off, and otherwise they're going to either be at work or day drinking. So we need to make it a holiday. Well, I just thought that might be interesting to you.
Or have it on the weekend.
No. Just make it a holiday. We'll make it a holiday. We'll make it like a Friday or Monday holiday. Mike's crazy about Monday holidays.
Yeah, that giant silence you heard was that sucking sound of people's brains exploding because that actually made sense.
No. Well, the primary's on the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Primary.
Right. They probably have a higher turnout.
Well, like I said, we just need to get some Underwoods running. Your nephew, Bob Berdalio.
We'll work some on some.
Okay.
Get some out there.
All right.
Okay.
Well, Uncle Robert, Viva Liberacion. I hope I see you out there on the parade route.
Viva.
All right. Hug and a kiss to Auntie Narissa. That's awesome. Uncle Robert with me. We need to have a themed entrance and exit. Maybe there ought to be an open and close, something gigantic, just to make a big deal that he's there. Did I just hang up on Arlene? I think I did, right? Is this Arlene? No, that's going to be Arlene. All right, because there's a picture, because I'm pretty sure I'm still talking to Uncle Robert on that line. 888-825-888-TALK is the telephone number here at the radio station. You can WhatsApp me or send me all kinds of stuff. Arlene WhatsApped me this morning, 988-5874. Thanks, I got her on too. And it's a picture of Mike called them puffins. But they're not. What did you say they were?
They are Java sparrows.
Arlene live on the radio with me this morning. Viva Liberacion to you.
Good morning. Thank you.
So tell me the story of how you got these pictures and how these birds get here and why the snakes didn't eat them yet.
Well, that's a curious thing, but I want to point out that the population of this bird, or the flock size of these birds, seem to be in decline. So these are not native to the Mariana Islands. They were either introduced here by a pet owner who may have released it because they're leaving, or it could have escaped from a cage, because these are very popular pets that are bought, and they're in decline and endangered where they're from in their native range. But they proliferate in other areas where they're introduced. However, this flock, like I wrote in the WhatsApp message I sent you, I've been after this photograph for 2 years, and it's not the only bird that I'm chasing. So that is one thing. And then the other thing is they're at the university, and then they disappear for a while, and we don't know where they go because the flock size is not large enough. But every time I see the pictures from other birders, the size is less. And I only took 4, and I looked everywhere yesterday until I got poured and floored by the rain, but there were only 4. And so they're about the same size as the Eurasian tree sparrow, which is the brown sparrow we see here.
Yeah.
But they're a little chunkier, and they're so colorful, and they're so cute.
Oh, they're just gorgeous birds. I like the red beak, and we've got that splash of white in their collar, and the black tuft on top, and then we've got some other muted colors a little bit lower, with the grays and the blacks. It's just a beautiful
look like
bird.
They were dipped in rust or something.
Yeah, or a little bit chocolate on their stomachs.
Right, and that's the beauty of creation, is that when you start taking pictures of these birds, if you look closely at that photograph I sent you, and by the way, I might have made the text opacity a little too light, because everyone goes, "What?
What is that?"
Name of the bird? but anyway, around the eye, we have bridled white eyes in the Mariana Islands, and we have the golden white eye, and that one is only found in Luta. But around the eye, in creation, God has put their eyes so that they pop for you. And I just love that. So I go straight for the eye, and I try to photograph it. But I almost stepped on them, Ray. I was looking up in the trees for them and on the buildings and everything, and then all of a sudden I heard a chirp, and I looked down, and 10 feet away, they were right there.
Gorgeous, Ann. Gorgeous. If you had something to record the sound, I would have loved to have heard what the bird song sounds like.
They're passerines. They're very similar to the other sparrows. They don't have a long song, but that's why they call them. They're passerines, because they do chirp.
Learn something new every day.
If they were in a flock, that would be really
kind of noisy. Ara, I wish I had more time. Thanks so much for the picture. Great way to go into the weekend with something beautiful to look at.
Absolutely. Thank you for asking.
No, not a problem. Arlene Stevy. Arlene live with me on the program this morning, and just shots of beautiful birds. And I guess it can be said and be true that this program has gone to the birds. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. We're KUSG. I got you. Stand by now for Fox News Live.
To a vote. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. The Senate ready to take up a bill that would fund health care for 9/11 first responders and their families. Fox's Jared Halpern live on Capitol Hill.
A permanent extension to a compensation fund for 9/11 first responders will get a vote next week in the Senate, days after attempts to fast-track the measure were blocked.
We're seeing light at the end of the tunnel. We're now just about to get out of that tunnel, that dark tunnel we have been in for over a decade.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer announcing a deal to vote Tuesday on a package already approved by the House. The Senate bill has more than 70 co-sponsors. The fund was created in 2011. It has been renewed every few years, but now faces depletion of funds and expiration. Lisa.
Jared, as tensions remain high between the U.S. and Iran, President Trump announcing a U.S. warship destroyed an Iranian drone in the Strait of Hormuz after threats to the ship.
This is the latest of many provocative and hostile actions by Iran against vessels operating in international waters. The United States reserves the right to defend our personnel, our facilities, and interests.
Marines aboard the USS Boxer took down the drone with an electronic jamming device, a U.S. official tells Fox News. The Pentagon says the incident happened at about 10 a.m. local time in international waters while the Boxer was getting ready to enter the Persian Gulf. In the days leading up to the 2016 election, President Trump spoke with aides rushing to quash stories about reported extramarital affairs. The revelations come after federal prosecutors told a judge they have concluded their investigation into President Trump's former attorney, Michael Cohen, which likely means that he will be the only one charged. Wall Street at the close, the Dow edged up 2 points, the NASDAQ added 22. This is Fox News.
Get a Coke 12-pack for only $3.49 when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy. Get a dozen extra-large eggs for only 49 cents when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy. Get a case of Circle K water for only $2.99 when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy.
65 years ago, Bank Pacific opened its doors to our community. As we celebrate, we offer you a special 65th anniversary personal loan rate for as low as 4.65% for travel, back to school, a wedding. Do whatever you want with the money. During July, we just want to give it to you for as low as 4.65% APR. It's our birthday present to you.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal opportunity lender, member FDIC, conditions apply.
An investigation's begun into the death of an Arkansas sheriff's deputy and another person after the officer responded to a call about a domestic disturbance.
State police investigators say Stone County Deputy Mike Stephen responded to the rural home and began talking with a woman. According to Arkansas State Police spokesman Bill Sadler,
in short order, gunfire erupted. Deputy Stephen was killed at the scene.
A suspect was also killed. The woman Deputy Stephen had been talking with was wounded. She is expected to survive and has been questioned about the incident. Deputy Stephen was an Army veteran who gave 20 years to law enforcement. Autopsies are being done and evidence is being collected at the scene. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
Despite having criminal sexual assault charges against him dropped in Massachusetts, Kevin Spacey's legal troubles aren't over. The two-time Oscar winner is still being investigated in London and Los Angeles and faces a federal lawsuit accusing him of assaulting a massage therapist. In Britain, the Metropolitan Police are investigating 6 claims of sexual assault and assault against Spacey. And Los Angeles County prosecutors said last year they were investigating allegations of a 2016 sexual assault by Spacey for possible criminal charges. The U.S. and its allies pouring cold water on Facebook's plans for new currency.
The G7 group of rich nations saying finance ministers meeting in France, including U.S. Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin, have agreed that cryptocurrencies like one devised by Facebook should only be launched when concerns about regulation have been addressed. Facebook argues that if the U.S. doesn't lead on digital currency, other countries will. But the French finance minister saying digital currencies raise serious difficulties to ensure they're not used to launder money or finance terrorism.
Fox's Simon Owen and I'm Lisa Lacera. This is Fox News.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. My name is Alicia Blas from Agate, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Putehi Igumamu. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
Mescla Chamorro Fusion Bistro brings you island hospitality with a true taste of modern Chamorro cuisine. A bistro look that feels like home. Their menu features local and traditional flavors with a twist. From their famous Calaguan Hafa to fresh ahi poke salad and their award-winning barbecue ribs. Mescla takes your favorite local dishes and serves them with extra flair that you'll only find at Mescla Chamorro Fusion Bistro. Stop by their newest location in the Grand Plaza Hotel in Tumon. For reservations, call 969-2652. Mescla, a true taste of Guam.
Liberate your mind with laughter. Budweiser presents Hypnosis Comedy coming to Guam Liberation Weekend.
Half a day, Guam. I am comedian hypnotist Rich Guzzi, and I can't wait to see you July 20th and 22nd at the Sheraton Laguna Hotel.
With local comedy legend Frank Rios opening the show. $25 general admission, $35 for VIPs. Tickets on sale at 76 Circle K stations and at Coffee Slut.
Doors open at 6.
Special thanks to Community First, the Guam Daily Post, Delta Tires, Tri-Vision, and Choice Broadcasting.
You will have the time of your life.
Liberate Your Mind with Laughter is a GSPN production.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 7 minutes past 8 a.m. this Friday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. The Supreme Court of Guam has rejected the $14 million arbitration award to YTK Corporation in a lease dispute over a failed fisheries business at the Port of Guam's Hotel Wharf. In its decision announced yesterday, the Supreme Court ruled that the arbitration award was void because it was based on a 45-year lease agreement on Hotel Wharf that was not valid. The port only had the authority to enter into a 5-year lease, but beyond that, any government property lease requires legislative approval, which the Port Authority did not have. The justices ruled that absent legislative approval of the lease, any attempt by the port to transfer possession of land under these circumstances would be illegal. The arbitration panel therefore exceeded its authority, wrote the justices, by attempting to enforce an illegal contract. The previous owners of Guam YTK had ceased renewing their business license, but it was revived when purchased by Attorney Champ Calvo's business, which launched the litigation leading to the arbitration award decided by a panel of private lawyers. Former Port General Manager Dan Tydinko called the arbitration award sheer naked gluttony. We protected island residents against the outlandish claim, he said, despite harsh criticism. Attorney Mike Phillips, meanwhile, who represented the Port Authority and argued the case before the Supreme Court of Guam, called the ruling vindication. The port doesn't owe these guys one penny, he said. Cebu Pacific Airlines will discontinue its Guam service in December. The carrier has announced that it's pulling out of Guam because of limited flight slots in Manila and its need to shift aircraft to routes with higher demand. The budget airline's exit from the Guam market leaves Philippine Airlines and United competing for direct Guam-Manila flights. In a statement yesterday, the discount airline said its entry into the Guam market gave the traveling public a more affordable alternative, but despite all efforts, the Guam route is no longer viable. The airline launched its Guam route in March 2016. The last round-trip flights on Cebu Pacific between Manila and Guam will be December 7th. We'll have more news after this.
Business travel just got easier. Take your data plan with you for only $10 a day to all 17 Data-to-Go destinations. Never worry about additional data roaming charges when you go where your business needs you. The U.S., China, Thailand, and so much more. Have the assurance you need to check emails, surf the web, and stay connected. Call 688-2677 today to make sure your account is Data-to-Go ready. Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Hey, welcome to this Subway ad for the new club collection. How do you want it?
I'll take a book club.
Absolutely.
So, last week we sunk our teeth into Subway's meaty new release, the Steak Club.
I didn't finish it yet.
Oh, not again, Sandra. This week, it's the new Southwest Chicken Club, also by Subway. No spoilers, but there's a tasty twist.
Jalapeno cheddar bread and guacamole?
Sandra, get out. Subway, make it what you want.
Good ending.
Limited time only at participating restaurants.
News time here at The Point is 10 minutes past 8 a.m. Guam Delegate Michael San Nicolas has announced that his bill correcting a technical error in Guam's World War II Loyalty Recognition Act will likely pass the U.S. House of Representatives with bipartisan support next week. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi made the announcement during the Guam Liberation Gala at the U.S. Botanic Gardens on Wednesday in Washington, D.C. San Nicolas introduced H.R. 1365 to correct a flaw in the bill introduced by former delegate Madeline Bordallo, which has held up payment of reparation awards to more than 750 island Manamco who survived the Japanese occupation during World War II. Once the bill clears the House, it'll still have to get through the Senate before it can land on President Donald Trump's desk for final action. An activist group that has been critical of the military buildup has called on 11 Guam lawmakers to remove their names from a resolution praising outgoing Joint Region Marianas Commander Rear Admiral Shoshana Chatfield for her leadership and contributions to the island of Guam. In a statement sent to the lawmakers, the group Prutehi Litexan Save Retidian declared that the commendation trivializes and undermines community efforts to safeguard our home. The group called the commendation an ill-timed and grossly inappropriate resolution. Speaker Tina Muñoz Barnes, who introduced the resolution, said she would not take it back. She told the Guam Daily Post yesterday that she respects Prutehi, but the resolution commending Chatfield was also a matter of respect for the Rear Admiral and her willingness to cooperate with the legislature during her command here on Guam. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now take a look at our weekend liberation weather.
Well, I can tell you what it's going to be like right now. Partly sunny, isolated showers, thunderstorms, winds from the east 10 to 15 miles an hour. Should be decreasing over the evenings. Highs around 89 degrees and overnight lows 79 degrees or so. Sunset tonight about 6:51. Sun will come up tomorrow morning at about 6:02. We'll take a look at the radar and see if there's wow, look at what's coming.
Yeah, northern half of the island, actually northern tip of the island, actually getting some rain. Maybe even a little rumble of thunder might have been heard on Anderson Air Force Base. All the way from up there, maybe northern parts of Chico, down as far south as Two Lovers Point. Probably saw some rain as this shower passed through and is still passing through. And if we look off to the east, looks like we got more back behind it. So starting to look like it might be a little rainier than they thought. I'll check the discussion that they posted the last hour or so and get on that with you, but that's what we can expect today. Mostly just some isolated showers and pretty warm. And the reason for that is, as we go to satellite, we've got a big upper level low pressure area that's up to the north of us here, and it's kind of pulling along a trough in the upper levels as well, and that enhances our chances for thunderstorms due to certain meteorological factors. And we got plenty of moisture to go along with it, so it should be just how it is. I'm not expecting a whole lot of rain, and they're not really expecting a whole lot for this weekend either. So right now, National Weather Service says the forecast for Liberation Day festivities will be warm, isolated showers, might get a little rainfall or whatever, but mostly it's going to be hot. So just make sure you hydrate, carry stuff to cover yourselves up with. But not like the Koreans do.
Yeah, have an umbrella.
Yeah,
but not like the Koreans do.
No,
so
no.
I mean, not head to toe.
No,
with everything just covered.
Why would I just can't figure out why anyone would come to a tropical island and wear a bunch of clothes? I know they're scared of the sun.
It's a strange thing, and I'm not entirely sure. And I don't know. It's a vanity at a crossroads here. So I think about Guam. I think about hanging out on the weekends and getting my beach on, getting my grill marks, and all of that stuff. I'm a light person that wants to be darker, and then you've got people that come from different parts of the world that don't equate dark skin with, I don't know, coolness. And in fact, they look at it in quite the opposite direction. If you've got dark skin, that means that you must be poor and work outside, and so you're not in the right social strata. And then there are other people, Japanese and Koreans, as an example, that will get age spots faster with exposure to the sun. So that's one of the reasons why you'll see people covered up head to toe, white gloves, white arm stockings, things like that.
Yeah, and you hit it right on the head of the nail with the cultural thing. Especially in Korea, Japan, they
go to the Philippines. There's whitening products. That's the first thing you see when you walk into some of the
they're
stores.
starting to shift their point of view a little bit because the Philippines has always been kind of American-ish, and so they're kind of starting to adopt a more American attitude about these things, and so they're actually starting to, most of the people, by and large, starting to kind of relax from that point of view.
And that's one of the reasons why I spend a lot of time on Instagram these days. 8:15. What's that?
I was just going to say, I also don't think that just walking from your car to 20 feet to where you work a day is going to darken you.
It'll give you skin cancer.
No, I don't think.
Yes.
I don't think these people need umbrellas to walk 20 feet because I walk the same amount of distance and I'm not getting darker for it. And I'm definitely not getting skin cancer. So I think the 20 feet walk, I think you're okay. You don't need to cover up for that.
From here to there, guys. Yeah.
You don't need to. But
head
they
to
do.
toe, and then they spray themselves up with this stuff that comes out as thick as butter. Yep.
I get overall not wanting to sit in the sun. I understand that. But the 20-minute walk from your car to the front door of where you work, you're not going to get dark.
As long as they pay. As long as, it's hotel occupancy tax. They're buying grub in your restaurant, all of that. It's 8:15 in the morning. That's news and weather and just, being critical of everybody else's race except our own right here on The Point.
Hafaday, this is Congressman Nicholas. Our office is currently visiting our villages, providing contact information for our office and taking any inquiries we may be of service with. All vehicles and staff are appropriately identified for your safety. Please feel free to let our constituent outreach team know how we can be of service to you, and thank you for your kindness.
This ad was paid for with official funds from the office of Congressman Michael F.Q. San Nicolas.
I got you. 8:16. That's going to be forever now, the way we pronounce his voice. Let me pronounce this one. Ruby Tuesdays is calling you for happy hour tonight, 4 to 6. Hey, that's 2 happy hours. Select draft beers, wines, sangrias, the RT, Tipsy Palmer, or the Ruby Relaxer. $5 or less. $5 apps, too. Check them out for happy hour. Ruby Tuesdays, Guam. The Point Morning Show brought to you by APL, American President Line's global presence with a local home. And there's never been a better time to go solar. We got solar systems with batteries now from Micronesia Renewable Energy, 632-2613. And call Ron and Kim over at Security Title, providing solutions for your complex real estate transactions.
Let's go for a drive.
Let's take a stroll. Let's gallivant. Let's go cruising.
We all have different ways to describe how we get up and go in our cars. But whatever you may call it, you can do more of it when you save 6% off your fuel purchases at any Shell station when you use your eligible Bank of Guam Visa and MasterCard credit cards. So stop by any Guam or CNMI Shell station and start saving today. Visit bankofguam.com for more information. Terms and conditions apply. Bank of Guam, the People's Bank. Member FDIC.
Take Care Family brings you portions of the Ray Gibson Show, as does guys over at Wendy's with the Berry Burst Chicken Salad, fresh berries, feta, grilled chicken, and they make it fresh for you every day. So you get the salad, and you say, you know what I need now? Now that I've had a salad, I need a Jeep. Go up to Cars Plus. They're celebrating the summer of Jeep. You're going to find Wranglers and Compasses and Cherokees and Grand Cherokees on special for you. Financing that you are going to love. The summer of Jeep at Cars Plus in Mighty.
The Coconut Wireless is back. The Ray Gibson Show. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
We got to get that guy to cut another one with phone numbers on it. 988-5874. Not really a phone number as much as it's our WhatsApp address in the World Wide Web. Put it into your contacts. The Point, 988-5874. And then when you got groovy pictures or groovy videos of guys taking a leak on the Golden Shower Highway or whatever it is, feel free to just pass those along to me so I can use those to blow up the responses on the radio so that I can exaggerate even more stories. How's that? 8:18 in the morning, and a couple of things that are worth talking about sports-wise. Might as well bring him in. Blake Watson, Hoffa Dude.
Hello.
How you
Happy
doing
Friday.
there?
I'm good.
Happy Friday.
I'm good.
Our weekend starts in less than 2 hours.
I know. I saw a scary thing on the way into work, though. I feel like I wanted to share because coming up the Sinahanya Hill right after Ada Funeral Home, but right before you get to the 76. Right after the precinct, I guess. If you're going towards Sinahanya, there, that little concrete ditch, that's kind of poured on the side of the road if you're going up the back of the hill.
One of my favorite things to avoid.
So a four-door blue off-roading Jeep did not avoid it, and it seemed they just kind of ran over and kind of toppled over a little bit onto its side. Now I saw a young couple standing on the road being talked to by police and fire department that were on the scene. Looked like a one vehicle turnover, but. Still, and it wasn't even slick. It was just, it wasn't raining there at the time. Yeah, must have been. But there were two of them in it. There were two. It looked like a young couple, a guy and a girl. So I don't know if maybe they were too busy gazing in each other's eyes.
What did you say? It was a Jeep?
It was a Jeep.
1.99% APR. Let's replace that. Call the insurance company and have them buy a new one.
And before 6 a.m. So
exactly.
The rare one vehicle accident before 6 a.m.
All right, well, 20 after. I haven't seen anything scary yet. No, headlines and most of the big news stories seem to be going in the right direction. Although I am very, very sad that Cebu Pacific, unless I get on an airplane with them before December 7th, Cebu Pacific will have come and gone without me taking a ride on that airline.
They're suspending for good, just pulling out?
Yeah, they're ceasing operations here. They got better places. How do I say this? They've got some expensive spots in the airports that they've got to build. I forget what they call them, but anyway, so it's not profitable for them.
Right, they'll make more money flying someplace else.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm sad.
That's you still got some other.
Dude, there were some cool people that were, from Cebu Pacific in the Philippines that were coming out on a kind of regular basis, doing some marketing and stuff out here. Apparently,
okay.
Not very good at the marketing, but they, easy on the eyes.
Oh, yeah.
Make that point. 20 after. It's time for Sports with Blake. Yes. Uncle Ted at the ranch says it's Pac-Man versus Thurman. The fight is this weekend. It's Liberation Day, and I don't know whether that gives you a pass to avoid the Liberation Parade. Why didn't you go? Because it was Pac-Man on the TV.
I mean, people really still care
about the Liberation Parade?
About Manny Pacquiao.
Oh, about Manny. What?
They do in the Philippines. I don't know about that.
That's blasphemy.
Yeah.
This is when Manny Pacquiao fights. We're all Filipino.
I think he's going to get his comeuppance on this fight because this kid's a lot younger than he is, and Manny's not a young fellow anymore. I mean,
so what are we going to?
Yeah, but we said that about Manny Pacquiao for the last 10 years.
Yeah, but are we just enjoying it because once he's done, that's it?
Well, when's the last time Manny won a fight?
When's the last time Manny?
Because he always gets ripped off.
When was the last time his fight was relevant? I think the last relevant fight he had and was even arguably the Mayweather fight, and that really at the time wasn't that relevant.
Everybody, all of my Filipino friends, that's not me saying that. Those words are coming out of Blake Watson's mouth.
My children are Filipino. I'm not trying to offend anybody.
No, and I got a world of respect for Manny and all that he's done. I mean, he's 8 different weight divisions, title holder in each one of them. No one will ever box like Manny did. Keyword did.
Next president of the Philippines.
Maybe.
Good. Then get to it.
Well, he's already a senator now,
So
or a congressman or something.
I have to quit faking care about the fact that you're fighting. I don't even know I mean, great. Keith Thurman.
I didn't know either until
Awesome.
we mentioned it earlier this week. I was like, huh?
And nothing against your listeners that are bringing it up. It's just you're reaching if you're looking forward to another Manny Pacquiao fight. Just saying.
Rico Blankenfloor.
We got NFL in less than a month.
Anak ng watang. Don't diss the Pinoy boxers.
I'm not dissing him. He had a great run.
Chris Chip says the best days to play golf in the Philippines is when Manny is fighting.
Yeah, there you go.
You're leading a trend here.
That's the best day to do anything in the Philippines, like drive, because no one's on the roads. It clearly is a ghost
they're all
town.
watching something, right?
Yeah, it truly is.
Okay. All right. 888-825-58. Go ahead. Just keep it up there on the deal. Quick question, unrelated to sports, sort of, is now that the CBD products should have been released back to the retailers, et cetera, that they were confiscated from, I need to ask where you are getting your CBD products online. Go ahead and give me an answer on Facebook Live. I really would appreciate it. I've got a couple of sources, but I'm hesitant to use their names because I did that with Shelly. I was saying, oh, yeah, Shelly is my dealer, my CBD dealer.
Yeah.
And now everybody in the world is going to Shelly saying, where's your stuff, man? How do I get some of that stuff? Ray's talking about your stuff on the radio. How do I get that stuff on the radio?
If you walk through the mall, there's signs that say we sell CBD. Places that you wouldn't even think like, oh, they sell CBD.
Yeah, but is it like, especially if it's good stuff?
I don't know.
Especially if it's like, you put the stuff on, and not that I've got any great need. It's just that I'm worried that I'm going to run out. So I had some CBD salve, and a friend of mine's got this shoulder problem, and I put it on her shoulder, and all of a sudden she's like, it went away. The pain went away, and she's like, can I get some more of that?
It's good stuff.
The beautiful thing about the internet and having it on our phones is that you can walk into a place and see a product and look it up very quickly, find reviews on it, efficacy and those sorts of things. So, check it out and do a little research.
Just asking if you got a good connection that you don't mind sharing, stick it up on the Facebook Live. I appreciate that. Nice. Upward Bound Fun Run 2019 2K 5K UOG Fieldhouse Showtime 5 tomorrow. Go time is going to be 6. Liberation Mile at the parade grounds, and this is not one of the. If you show up at 5 o'clock, you'll be the only one, and guarantee somebody will give you a beer, and then you'll forget about the whole thing completely. But show up at I want to say about 6:45, 7-ish. At 7:21, we'll all assemble, and then Richard Teichig pulls the trigger, and then it's a fast mile to the reviewing stand. For those of you that want to go fast, you don't have to. It's part of the festivities. It's an actual parade, so if you just feel like jogging, pushing a stroller, waving the Guam flag and waving the U.S. flag, no problem. Be happy to have you participating. And there's no charge, obviously, for the event.
Man, already Liberation Day, 75th here, and it's on a Sunday, no less.
Yeah.
And we're not working on Monday.
And we're off on Monday.
And we're off on Monday. I just hope the cops
I'm excited
don't catch
about
us.
that.
Okay. So anyway, and reminder to our brothers and sisters from other islands, not ours, please don't pee in the streets. There will be somebody will put a porta potty together for you. Don't pee in the streets.
Problem?
Well, Route 8, Golden Shower Highway the other day. Didn't you see the video?
Well, no, I didn't see the. I saw the story. I didn't see the video.
That's the
I didn't
sound
watch
effect.
it.
We should have used that sound effect when the guy was when I played the video.
Yeah,
I didn't clean. That's not just Sanford here. There was one time I was driving near a pretty heavy populated area in Bangkok, like a couple blocks off of Chinatown. And there was a guy just peeing on the street there too.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
So
big city problems too.
There's the video there. So now it makes sense to play the video because we get the tinkling noise while he's tinkling on the roadway.
I think that's also a PSA for maybe don't drink in public too. I don't think that guy's one hundo just because and just peeing because
Did you
he
just
had
say
to go.
hundo?
Yeah.
Letterkenny.
There's
Can confirm.
Yeah, I mean, I am. Even though I'm on the older end of it, I'm barely in the millennium geographic or demographic. So I got to use it.
Buddy of mine is in his 50s.
I embrace it.
Right, and he's watching. We were talking about something. He said, "Can confirm." I said, "Been watching much Letterkenny these days." Yep. As a matter of fact, so that's how you know. You say something like hundo.
Yeah, one hundo. Speaking of, you're about a month and a half away, 2 months away from season 4
of
Rick and Morty.
Yeah, I think Rick and Morty. Well, Rick and Morty, and then Letterkenny's going to be coming out in October sometime. The season 4 of that, I think, is going to be coming out.
If we have any fans, I just read this on my show. They're revamping Gossip Girl. If anybody cares, I'm sure we have a couple fans, but Gossip Girl's a big deal.
We just check the Facebook Live to see if anybody
cares about Gossip Girl.
Well, see about if they care about anything that we're talking about here this morning. But it's better than the old days when you just talking on the radio. Remember when before we used to do this, and we just presume if the producer was laughing, everybody else was
You
having a good
assume
time.
everybody's
as well.
laughing too.
Yeah. So
They can never tell with me because I got poker face.
Yeah, and that's how do you wake up Lady Gaga? Poker face.
Poker face.
There we go. That's my kid's joke. Ha ha! 8:27 in the morning. Janina Chris.
Yes, I have it.
Silver
medal, the first medal. Yes, keep
Okay,
that one going for her.
I'm gonna over exaggerate this. They hit the gun on this and they got her started on the 1500 and she was in last place. She ran last place right up until the last 20 feet and then stepped on the gas and beat everybody.
Turned it on, and the first medal in athletics so far. She wrote on Instagram, quote, "No words can describe how I feel except to say thank you to those who made it possible."
That's exactly what she wrote to me. She must have cut and pasted that because early this morning, I'd sent her a note earlier this morning, congratulating her on how fantastic it is. And when you get home, can you get on the radio and tell me about the experience here of the going, because she had been on a training trip already, and then she got to the SPG, and now she's got the silver, and everybody is happy about that. And so I thought I'd like to know a little bit more about those steps. Bring her in the studio. But so that conversation ensues, and then the rest of it is congratulations, and again, love the humility, lack of hubris in there. I just want to say thank you very much to everybody who supported me through all of this.
Yeah, and she wasn't alone, as the Guam ladies in the 400 relay, the Guam national team, they set the Guam national record in the Pacific Games. Rochelle Tagati, Allison Bowman, Regine Tagati, and Madison Packbuyer, they also shine on the athletic front as they best the previous record on Guam. 4 minutes, 10 seconds, and 22 milliseconds. That team sets the new record.
What was this? What sport again was that?
It's the relay, the 400 meter relay. Yes. So shout out to the Tagati sisters, Rochelle and Regine, Allison Bowman, and Madison Packbuyer. They were all part of the team.
Absolutely fantastic.
Looks like they were running under the lights, too.
Are they about all done now with all of this? Or when are these people coming home? Eventually, it's going to be August? Some of them have to go back to school.
I got to say that they're going to be coming home probably this Sunday. This Sunday would mark the exact 2-week mark to kind of round out things. And to round out our men's volleyball run, they finished 9th out of 13th teams. So everybody's pretty much wrapping up. We've got the men's, women's basketball is wrapped up, athletics and track and field wrapping up, and then men's volleyball wrapping up. So the final results kind of rolling in. They'll probably have closing ceremonies. Maybe our Liberation Day.
Could be.
Maybe Sunday.
All right, we'll keep an eye out for all of that. And as I said, when people start flying back in, I think that's going to be awesome. 8:30 in the morning. And what else do we got?
One quick thing out of Harmon, the Guam National, or the GFA National Training Center up there, the Marianas Cup here locally. Tomorrow, 3 p.m. will kick off for ladies and 5 p.m. for men. So the Marianas Cup and the Guam Football Adult League going on out there tomorrow, Saturday, 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. Are the kickoff times, and I guess they're getting it all out of the way because I'm sure Sunday will be a standstill as everybody will be at the parade and then enjoying Liberation Day the rest of the afternoon.
Looking forward to all of that. I'm looking to see if there's anything else that's going on. Earlier we were talking about the what's his name, Pui Pui Pipi, the guy, the Tinkly boy up on the Golden Shower Highway. And you're right, we're not alone. This is not something.
Right.
And I'm being accused of racially profiling, and you know what? No, but we're not the only ones here that have to endure that kind of thing. We were talking about places like San Francisco and Seattle, Washington, where we got homeless people and vagrants, and they're out there and they cannot go inside. Nobody will let them inside to pee-pee or go poo-poo. And so we've got stories like this. There is a serial pooper on the loose in Michigan, according to a notice posted by a neighborhood association in Macomb County. An unidentified individual is secretly defecating in the public pool.
I read this, just like in Caddyshack.
Exactly, prompting closures. There's a full-on APB, all points bulletin search for the person responsible. And unlike steps that are not being taken here to protect our new police precinct, in Macomb County, a pool attendant has been hired to remain on site until the end of summer to prevent this guy from coming back and going up and dropping a duty in the pool.
What is the deal with that? First, I think it was a couple months ago, right around springtime, there was a lady doing it in people's yards as she was jogging. I don't remember where that was. Somewhere in Florida, of course, or I don't know, somewhere. And now a guy going around doing it in pools.
When you gotta go, you gotta go.
8:30.
It's not a payday. Don't touch it.
That wasn't a payday, was it? That was a Baby Ruth.
Was it a Baby
That
Ruth?
was the Baby Ruth, yes.
Oh,
It's
okay.
absolutely.
It's a Baby Ruth.
It's 8:32 in the morning, 888-8255 is the phone number. And we got to break away. You got to get to...
More Friday fun.
Kenny Williams, I can't use that language on the radio. All right, so where do we need to go? You got to finish the morning show over on Star 101. That's Blake Watson. Coming up, Kevin Kerrigan's going to finish up with headlines next.
KFC has finally answered the world's most important question. What came first, the chicken or the egg? And the answer is both. Introducing KFC's KFC AM, their new Southern and local-inspired breakfast. AM-loaded platter with chicken fried rice, waffles, and Colonel's chicken congee. KFC also has your all-time favorites, AM chicken and egg wraps, Southern biscuit and sausage sandwich, and hash browns. So for finger-licking good mornings, AM will never be the same at KFC. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Oh, see, I just saw this now, Mike. You should have butted in and said we were supposed to talk about the fantasy football this time. We didn't make it. Tell you what, on the other side of headlines with Kevin Kerrigan, Michael Knight is going to attempt to explain to me, use very small words and speak slowly about how you want to do or what your options are for how we're going to do fantasy football. Because near as I can tell, my sole job here is to be the guy that hooks up the winner with a prize. Yep. Okay, now other question, because Brad Hewitt was playing last year. He doesn't live here anymore, but he's still a part of the broadcast. So can Brad play from Saipan? I mean, from Texas. He's in Texas.
Yeah, that depends on whether you want to mail his gift to him in Texas if he wins.
Roger that. All right, it's 8:33 in the morning now. Headlines from the Guam Daily Post and Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. And the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning. The funding source has not yet been identified, and the authors acknowledge their measure may become moot if a rival bill introduced by Guam's delegate is passed by Congress first. But Speaker Tina Muñoz Barnes and Minority Leader Senator Will Castro are pressing on regardless. Yesterday afternoon, they introduced Bill number 181-35, which would establish the 75th Guam War Claims Fund and provide the governor with the authority to transfer up to $7.5 million into it. At a news conference yesterday following the introduction of their bill, Speaker Barnes said the measure authorizes the governor to work with the administration to find the funding. Once identified, the local funds would pay out war claims to more than 750 Manamco who have been waiting for reparation checks that have been held up by the U.S. Treasury because of a flaw in former Delegate Madeline Bordallo's war reparations bill. Delegate Mike San Nicolas has introduced a measure to correct that flaw, which is up for a vote next week in the U.S. House. Both Speaker Barnes and Senator Castro acknowledge that if the San Nicolas bill becomes law first, their bill would become moot. I don't think it's a race, said Speaker Barnes. It's about working together. We're both headed in the same direction, said Senator Castro. Their goal, they said, is to get checks issued as quickly as possible. Cebu Pacific Airlines will discontinue its Guam service in December. The carrier has announced that it's pulling out of Guam because of limited flight slots in Manila and its need to shift aircraft to routes with higher demand. The budget airline's exit from the Guam market leaves Philippine Airlines and United competing for direct Guam-Manila flights. In a statement yesterday, the discount airline said its entry into the Guam market gave the traveling public a more affordable alternative, but despite all their efforts, the Guam route is no longer viable. Cebu Pacific launched its Guam service in March 2016. The last round-trip flights between Manila and Guam on Cebu Pacific will be on December 7th. Guam International Airport was briefly evacuated yesterday morning after smoke began rising from a moving walkway near Gate 10 on the second floor of the terminal. Guam Fire Department spokesman Kevin Riley saying there were no flames and no injuries. The building was evacuated as a precaution only to allow the air to clear after the smell of smoke filled the terminal building. Airport Deputy Executive Manager John Kanata said no outbound or inbound flights were affected. It happened after all early morning flights had already departed. Kanata said technicians from Otis Elevator Company were called in to figure out what caused the walkulator to begin emitting smoke. Could have been an overheated motor, or the belts that move the walkway could have slipped out of alignment, he said. They're waiting for the technicians to complete their assessment to learn the cause. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
Have you ever seen the insides of that kind of technology?
No.
With the big plates and the belts and all the motors and the things that move around in there. Does that not look like the most dangerous thing in the world? Like, I mean, just instantly, like, you can't, you know, that feeling you got with the waste disposal in the kitchen sink? Like, if you put your fingers in there, you're going to pull back a bloody stump. And it's the same thing when I look at the innards of those, you know, escalators and walkolators and things like that. It just looks like it's all dangerous, moving, cut you to pieces technology.
Yeah, easy to start smoking.
Apparently. 837, that was the good news. 888-8255, 888-TALK is my number. I'd like you to call 888-8888. That's iConnect's number. And ask them how they're going to save you all kinds of money on all kinds of things that you need to do, like talk on the phone and hit the internet every once in a while. 888-8888.
65 years ago, Bank Pacific opened its doors to our community. As we celebrate, we offer you a special 65th anniversary personal loan rate for as low as 4.65% for travel, back to school, a wedding. Do whatever you want with the money. During July, we just want to give it to you for as low as 4.65% APR. It's our birthday present to you.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal opportunity lender, member FDIC, conditions apply.
That is an interesting question, Rudy Magallanes. How is it possible that it's not viable when the flights are always full? Believe me, when I fly with them, the flights are always full. It's kind of funny.
I told my wife that they were discontinuing. She hadn't heard the news yet, and she was really perplexed. She says, you know, Philippine Airlines charges 2.5 times more for a ticket, so it seems like Cebu Pacific may have just priced their stuff a little bit too low.
Too low.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've been on a couple of airplane rides on Philippine Airlines as well, and they are full.
Yeah.
And I was looking at some flights out to the Philippines on United the other day, and the only chairs that were left on that flight are the ones that they charge extra for. It's like, here's your seat. Well, wait a second. There's no place else to sit except the one that's $38 more.
Yeah.
So I got to pay $38 more if I'm going to ride on that airplane. Where are we? 8:39 in the morning, and we'll call that time to go think about eating at Mezcla. They've got a seafood lau that the people are just raving about these days, but they've also got Kahlua pork and cabbage, slow-roasted, smoke-laced pork, shredded and sautéed with onions and cabbage, served with steamed rice. And then there's lomi salmon. Try it today, available in Aganya and Tumone, or a brand new location at the Grand Plaza Hotel. For reservations, call them at 969-2652.
We know too well the inconvenience of not having power after a storm. You worry about food in the freezer going bad. Nights get hot. It's hard finding comfort when going to sleep. These are realities. But with solar and battery storage from Micronesia Renewable Energy, these realities can be a thing of the past. The solar works during the day and the batteries power your home at night. Call 632-2613 to see how solar plus battery storage can make life a little more convenient. MRE, the smarter choice.
Traffic Gizmo time. I stepped outside a little bit ago because I got tired of getting direct messages and notes from people on my WhatsApp talking about how beautiful it is, and I'm inside the room and I can't see anything, so I went outside and took a look, and you know what? Sure enough, it is a nice day outside. I don't know about driving in this nice day. Looking at traffic around the Sinahanya area just before you get to Circle K on Route 4. Traffic moving very, very slowly through Tsawat and then up the street from there, so expect some delays if you have not yet hit the downtown Aganya area. And actually, that probably in my mind is a reason why traffic in the downtown Aganya area looks like it's moving smoother now, because everybody's stuck on Route 4 both directions now in that area. So it could be an accident moving through there. Looking to see if there's anything slow up on Route 6 by Johnny Gerber's Museum and over by Adeloop. Let me scooch down a little bit more and see things moving fairly smooth through Polaris Point. When you get to Route 1 and 2 over at Big Navy, it's actually looking pretty good today. And maybe, again, that's because everybody's stuck on Route 4. Haven't made that turn yet. 8, 10, and 16 running all right this morning. 10 and 15 a little bit busy at the intersection for folks trying to go from Price over to the university, not the university, but over by the Ladera Towers area. And 4 and 10's been busy all morning this morning. Don't know why. It just is. Watch out for it. 19 away from the top of the hour, and that's right now traffic here on The Point.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,600 by calling Family Finance in Agutya at 475-4545, Upper Tumon at 647-5626, or in Dededo, 633-4473. Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959.
How do you spell humorous? Humorous? Am I close? What do you say,
Yeah.
Mike?
Yeah, that's right.
All right. I just trying to figure it. Okay, that's too many R's there. Okay, never mind. I don't want to spell. Just funny. Just going to say funny.
That's easier.
Oh, got it. All right. So Elwin is taking offense to things that I come out of my mouth here this morning. A professional radio announcer should never magnify subject matter that targets a specific group of people. Micronesians and skin color and Filipinos' ability, Thai behaviors. Didn't say anything about Thais this morning, did we?
No.
No.
And this is one of those things that comes about people being extra sensitive, and maybe he has a point from his perspective. It could very well be.
Mm-hmm.
Remembering back in our conversation, I don't think we said anything derogatory about anyone, but when a white person talks about a person of color, then suddenly it's racist.
Yeah.
So-
Focus on building community relations, not on destroying this important goal each time you put your mouth to the mic. Buddy of mine, big famous comedian in where's he at? Hawaii, Frank DeLima, and he lives. That's a melting pot of a town. This is a melting pot of a town, and there are all kinds of interesting things about the way the people live their lives. And if I can bring us together by talking about them in a funny way, I don't know how that can be perceived as racist. In any event, I'm not going to change. And if it really bothers you, there's another one or two radio stations that you can listen to, and that's just the way it is. This is a Ray Gibson show. I'm doing it the same way, unapologetically, the way I've done it all of my life. It's 8:44 in the morning. 888-825. What's the number? 8258. Okay, 8258-988-5874.
8255, Ray.
I'm sorry, just all charged.
You're already on
I don't like
Saturday.
people calling me racist. Pisses me off. Where are we now? 8:44 in the morning. 988-5874 is the WhatsApp around here. Love to hear what you think is interesting about whoever on that. If you got videos to back it up, that's even funnier. I wanted to say happy birthday, celebrity birthdays, because I do that every once in a while. Elizabeth McGovern, those of you that watch Downton Abbey, I have a confession to make, and the confession is this. I always thought it was Downtown Abbey. And when I heard people referring to it as Downton Abbey, I thought they were being, I thought they were putting on airs. You remember like when Madonna was speaking with a British accent and everybody said, okay, that's, sorry, Chica, you're from Detroit or someplace like that. So I thought every time somebody said Downton Abbey, I thought they were putting on airs like that's all we watch is programs on the national public television stations and all of that. Anyway, Elizabeth McGovern is 58 years old. Wendy Williams is 55, and I've got to struggle to remember what she's famous for. Vin Diesel, who is famous for being bald, is 52 years old. People will say, well, wait a second, Ray, is Vin Diesel also a fine actor? And you know what? You're right. He plays, unfortunately, the same character in every movie that he plays in, but he is a fine actor and 52 years old. This is the reason why there are people that have balded themselves.
Yeah,
like I'm sure
is,
Josh Tenorio, if you ask Josh, Lieutenant Governor of Guam, hey, Josh, why are you bald in the head? And he'll say Vin Diesel. All right? So that's it. And Kirsten Bell is 39 years old, and it was one of those where I had to say, Sandra DeLeon says, yes, he is. Yes, he is a fine actor, and he also bald. Where are we? But Kristen Bell is celebrating a birthday, and I was trying to remember who that was. I actually went and did an internet search because I wanted to find out who it was that there was. So if you're going, oh, Kristen Bell's birthday, which one is she? That one. That one. There's a whole article in there about how she's got really, really nice hair or something along those lines. So there we go with the celebrity birthdays. In a few minutes, I'll get a note from Facebook which will tell me who all of the famous birthday people are here on Guam, and I'll share that with you in just a little bit. We're closing in on, we've gotten through a big chunk of the important stories, and some of them we riffed on, some of them we didn't. Cebu Pacific on the way out December 7th looks like it's going to be the last time that these guys are going to be doing a whole lot of flying around here, and that's just sad. Yes.
By the way, Joey Duane has just called, and he said you mentioned Frank De Lima, and Brother Frank had a birthday July 9th.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool. Frank, he's one of these guys comes back and forth to Guam every once in a while, and one of these people, every trip that my dad took to Hawaii that lasted longer than about a 12-hour layover, Pop would go find someplace to throw his suitcase and then go, and I can't remember the name of it, but to wherever it is that the Frank De Lima Theater was.
Okay.
And go and watch that show. By the time Pop had been traveling, he really got to be a big fan of Frank De Lima. And whenever there was a Frank De Lima comedy show here, obviously we'd go. So there's a lot of good things in my head floating around about Frank and the way he writes. I think some incredible comedy that does a good job poking fun at people, but bringing folks together at the same time. 8:48 in the morning. There's another thing I wanted to we get into low cost, no cost parts, ways to entertain yourself this weekend. And even though there's just a ton of stuff going on with Liberation festivities, Pia Mia is back in town. Like that, and as famous as she's gotten for all of the songs and the videos and the tours that she has done, as famous as she has gotten around, and working with Madonna on clothing line, as famous as Pia Mia has gotten, whenever she sees me, she still comes up and gives me a Uncle Ray kiss on the cheek. And I think that's cool. I got this note from a fella named Walt Goodridge, an author based on Saipan. It says, I'm here on Guam to do Guam's first ever writer's workshop. This is going to take place tomorrow, and wondering if I could speak about it on the air to invite students and adults alike. You can speak about it on the air if you can call 888-8255. Otherwise, I'll tell everybody about it. From 9 until noon tomorrow, the DNA building, Walt Goodridge's Little Flights of Fancy World Tour comes to Guam. Are you an aspiring author? Do you have an idea for a book? Have you always wanted to write a novel, a how-to manual, a book of poetry, or travel photographs, or even chronicle your family history? Are you suffering from writer's block? Well, during a unique 3-hour hands-on workshop tomorrow, July 20th, 9 until noon, at the DNA building, prolific author Walt Goodridge will share step-by-step instructions on how to achieve your dreams. Now I reached out to the guy earlier this morning and asking for a phone number. I don't know if he's was able to get back to me on this, but it is cool. Let me see. I want to see if I've got a phone number, because I would like to talk to him. I would like to get a couple of minutes with the guy to learn some of the tips and tricks. Don't we all of us in this town have a book in there? I believe in my soul that there's every single one of us have got a book, maybe 2, maybe 3 in their heads floating around. Maybe you fleshed it out. Maybe you've done the outline but didn't know where to go from there. Maybe you've written the thing all the way out and don't know what to do. And so I'm kind of curious as to what the steps are that this guy might be able to help me take. So maybe I will be able to get a hold of him. But at the end of it, all you need to know is that there is going to be a writer's workshop 9 to noon at the DNA building in Agana. I'd be happy to talk to you about it. I think it's admissions $10, $12 at the door, $5 for students with ID. If you want details, visit GuamWriters.com on the World Wide Web. Again, that is GuamWriters.com. 888-8255 is the telephone number around here, and I'm absolutely delighted looking over the top stories just about everywhere that as somebody that makes purchases here on Guam of goods and items that are brought in through the port, I should not have to pay too much extra for them to deal with the arbitration awards. Maybe with more details on that. And what we are going to do now, current guy in charge of the port is Rory Respicio. Good morning, Rory.
Good morning, Ray. Thanks for calling.
I'd like to, before we get into that conversation, talk about another slice of happiness for you. I wanted to wish you congratulations on your nuptials.
Thank you so much. I just got in this morning from the Philippines. We just got back. We had planned for several months to get married in the Philippines, but going through pre-K classes on Guam, getting certified by the church and all that, right? So, but we found that it's very difficult to get a marriage license in the Philippines to have a church wedding.
Wait until you try to get a divorce. I mean, not that that's going to happen, but, they don't have that there.
So what we did, like in a week to week and a half, we're very lucky that Monsignor James Beneventi was able to accommodate us, and Fabrine did a lot to make that happen, and we got married on Guam in church on a Friday, and then we got on a plane on Saturday, since everything for the Philippines is already planned to take our family there, and so we just proceeded with that.
Well, congratulations to the both of you, and I wish you many, many happy years.
Thank you so much.
And another slice of happiness that you flew into is we're not going to have to pay Champ Cal $14 million.
And that's something that I'm extremely happy about, and the port and the people of Guam should be celebrating that victory.
We're throwing a parade on Sunday. That's how happy we are. There's going to be a parade in downtown Agana.
And when you look at the Supreme Court ruling and how they said the whole contract was illegal, and so following that thought, then there's no need to pay any claim per the arbitration panel. I think it's something that, like I said in the media, because even though I was off island, I was following every step of the way. The port's a high-performing place, and I never want to unplug. And so I was very aware of the decision, and my immediate response was that I'm very happy with it. It removes this decade-old dark cloud that's been placed over the port. It's been a contingent liability that we've been tracking, that now it's something that we no longer have to report on as a contingent liability, and we're just going to keep moving forward with the plans to modernize the port, keep the port strong, and prepare the port, particularly for the military buildup.
I'm delighted with all of the plans that we can now engage in a little bit more fully. But I don't recall in the conversation about $75 million, whatever the number was in the loan here. What are the next plans for Hotel Wharf and that particular area? Obviously, nothing's happened on it for a long, long time, and it looks like we're going to need to concentrate on renovating that part of the facility and then giving it more of a purpose.
Well, the port secured a $10 million Tiger grant that was married with the port the revenue bond, the $71 million. And for about 3 years, things sat idle, and I believe they were waiting on using that to leverage for the revenue bond. Early on in the year, we had about 3 weeks to give Marriott an update on where we're at. Otherwise, if we were to submit based on those original timelines come this time this year, those monies would have been de-obligated. So luckily, as I explained earlier, in March, we downshifted. We had major interagency coordination meetings. We went out with Chairman Santos to give an update to Marriott. They were very pleased with all that progress and put everything back on track. We're just finally closing out on the submission of the environmental assessment, and there's this FONSI form that Marriott signed off, and we're going to be publishing, in the local media. And by September, we're looking to see that the $10 million can be obligated. Those $10 million are going to be spent to shore up below Hotel Wharf, that structure there, and then another $3.8 million for security, fencing, lighting, to turn that into a multi-use wharf, the cruise ship, break bulk, and other roll-on, roll-off type activities, and so that's those plans. And so
and they're great, and they're all the revenue opportunity plans. They're all revenue generating plans that we could not take advantage of now.
Correct. And with this whole YTK looming and their claim to that whole Hotel Wharf, now with the Supreme Court decision, I think it gives us plenty bit of breathing room to be able to continue to move forward and not, like I said, having that dark cloud over the Port Authority of Guam. Because if the judgment were otherwise, there's only two things that happened: that one, port had to pay, or two, the port didn't have to pay, as in the case was determined by the Supreme Court decision. This $17 million, there's no way that it could have come out of port operations, and so there would have been other
I would have had to pay more. I would have had to pay more. I mean, that would have gotten charged. There would have been tariff hikes. There would have been fee increases off to the port users, and they would have passed that along to the wholesalers, and they would have passed it along to me. So, as far as I'm concerned, Rory, you and I both dodged the bullet here. There's the net savings now, $14 million that we can imagine,
not net savings because it was never budgeted, but you could say cost avoidance.
Yeah, cost avoidance then. And so since we've avoided the cost there, and I imagine that there is still obviously opportunities for spend, I'd love to be able to see some plans moving forward to really reimagine and reshape the boat basin. I'd like to see more being done over at the Agate Marina. And then I can't remember the name of the place. It's where all of the tour vessels leave out of just south of the old power plants and just south of where you are in Petey. I can't remember the name of that roadway.
Harbor of Safe Refuge.
Harbor of Safe Refuge, which is also port property, and that place is a slum, Rory.
Yeah, it is. But remember also that we're going to have to purchase 3 gantry cranes by 2026, which is we're getting ready to submit on this merit grant. There's going to be $290 million available nationwide for port equipment, and it's right for us to submit for this grant, and we're going to leverage that. We're going to get the governor to continue to help us, maybe to the military, the new admiral, and make the argument that this is needed in order to prepare better for the military buildup and the increased throughput. And we're getting Mr. Gary Kurabara to be supportive of that. So we can get 2 cranes purchased that we don't have to pay back on, and that gives us more opportunity to go and fix up our, our properties.
Well, I'm wondering if there might be better opportunities for public-private partnerships down in that area. See if we can put some private capital to work. I passed by Boat Basin and watched, the thousands and thousands of dollars worth of excursions going out, and when it rains, they're underneath a tent, they're waiting on wooden benches, and I'm going, man, there's got to be a way that we ought to be able to fancy that up, especially with as much new stuff that's going on in the downtown area.
Correct.
Yeah, so it just to put the thought in your head. Rory, again, congratulations on enough shows. I'll see you again soon, and keep looking at good things over at the port, up to and including. We don't have to pay $14 million. I'll talk to you. Have a great weekend. See you on the roadways.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Roy Respicio from the Port of Guam. 888-8255-888-TALK is the telephone number around here. Where do we need to go in the next hour? I don't know. We got to talk about. We have to talk about fantasy football. Because Mike wants to talk about fantasy football. We're going to talk about fantasy football right out of the news break, which is coming up here in mere seconds. The radio station is KUSG. I got you. My name is Ray Gibson, and the program continues. Fox News Live is going to be on the other side of that. It's been a while since we've talked about job openings in this town, and I found a couple that are going to be interesting. Don't want to work? Well, you still got time to file a sex abuse claim against the Archdiocese. I'll give you details on that. Stay right there.
A drone downed. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. President Trump announcing the U.S. warship Boxer destroyed an Iranian drone in the Strait of Hormuz after he says it threatened the ship.
The incident comes hours after Iran's Revolutionary Guard admitted seizing an oil tanker this weekend belonging to the United Arab Emirates with 12 crew on board, accusing the vessel of smuggling. The State Department responded, quote, Iran must cease this illicit activity and release the reportedly seized crew and vessel immediately. The head of U.S. Central Command is in the region trying to form a coalition of allied Navy vessels to escort oil tankers through the Strait of Hormuz. Iran's foreign minister, speaking in New York today, said Iran and the United States were just a few minutes away from a war last month after Iran shot down an American spy drone.
Fox's Jennifer Griffin at the Pentagon. The Senate set to vote next week on a measure that would ensure the 9/11 victims' compensation bill never runs out of money.
We've already done a whip count. I am confident that the 2 amendments will be defeated and that we will get an overwhelming majority of senators for the vote to pass this bill. and that the president will sign it.
Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer, but Kentucky Republican Rand Paul remains concerned about the cost.
Really? We're going to have a spending bill that says you spend whatever you want until 2092. It doesn't matter how good the cause is. It's irresponsible.
On Fox's Your World with Neil Cavuto, a Syrian refugee has been indicted on charges he plotted to bomb a Christian church in Pittsburgh. The federal grand jury charging Mustafa Moab Alawamer with attempting to provide material support and resources to ISIS and 2 counts of distributing information about a weapon of mass destruction. Prosecutors say Alawamer had detailed plans to bomb the Legacy International Worship Center. He was arrested last month. This is Fox News.
Get a half-gallon of Minute Maid orange juice for only $1.99 when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy. Get a half-gallon of Dairy Gold milk for only $1.99 when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy. Get a $7 meal for only $1.99 when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy.
Hafaday, this is Congressman Nicholas. Our office is currently visiting our villages, providing contact information for our office and taking any inquiries we may be of service with. All vehicles and staff are appropriately identified for your safety. Please feel free to let our constituent outreach team know how we can be of service to you, and thank you for your kindness.
This ad was paid for with official funds from the office of Congressman Michael F.Q. San Nicolas.
A court appearance this morning for a hedge fund manager accused of sexually abusing young women.
Jeffrey Epstein denied bail. Judge Richard Berman said at the heart of his decision Thursday was his belief Epstein is a danger to the community and others. He cited the, quote, compelling testimony of 2 Epstein accusers, Annie Farmer and Courtney Wild, who expressed real fears that if freed, Epstein would continue to harm girls and intimidate other victims from coming forward. Sigrid McCauley is an attorney for Epstein accusers.
Only by taking away the freedom of Jeffrey Epstein can we restore the freedom of these victims. They have been living in fear and intimidation since the day they were abused by him.
The defense had asked for Epstein to be released on house arrest in his $77 million New York City townhouse. Brian Yennis, Fox News.
It was hot last month. NOAA says that June was about 1.7 degrees warmer than the 20th century average. A wholesale drug distributor and 4 individuals charged with conspiring to distribute millions of painkillers.
A federal indictment names opioid wholesale distributor Miami Lucan out of Springboro, Ohio, its CEO and compliance officer, and the owners of 2 West Virginia pharmacies, who U.S. Attorney Ben Glassman says conspired
to distribute large amounts of opioids to known pill mills and to profit.
Allegedly earning hundreds of millions of dollars, mostly from wholesale opioid distribution. Opioids have been linked to hundreds of thousands of deaths across the U.S. over the last several decades. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
Latest class of Kennedy Center honorees have been named. They include actress Sally Field, the long-running PBS children's show Sesame Street, Linda Ronstadt, and Earth, Wind, and Fire. The announcement made today. The honorees will be celebrated at a gala in December. I'm Lisa Lacera, and this is Fox News.
Viva Guam! As Guam celebrates 75 years of liberation, Nambo Insurance honors the brave heroes who dedicated their lives to fight for our freedom. With great pride, we salute those who made our liberation possible. At Nambo Insurance, they share the same dedication to serve our community. From offering reliable home, auto, motorcycle, and business insurance to providing friendly Hafaday service, Nambo Insurance is dedicated to serving Guam. From your Nambo family, happy liberation, Guam.
I got you. It's just after 9 o'clock in the morning, 888-825-5888-TALK. And a reminder, there's a happy hour, 4 to 6 tonight over at Ruby Tuesdays. Hey, that's 2 happy hours at Ruby Tuesdays. They got the Ruby Relaxer there. They've got select beers and wines and sangrias and plenty more. Around $5. In fact, apps at $5 as well. It's happy hour tonight for you and your friends at Ruby Tuesdays. Portions of the program's also brought to you by American President Lines, global presence with a local home Micronesia renewable energy, now selling batteries breeze with their solar systems. Give them a ring for a free consult. And speaking of stuff that's on sale, they've got cars and motorcycles and plenty more over at Cars Plus up in Mighty. You're going to love running up there. Just take a look around the lot and then go to specifically the Jeep section. Grand Cherokees, Compasses, and a brand new Wrangler that has probably already got your name on it. Go for a test drive today at Cars Plus in Mighty.
News to fill your mind. Talk to get it out. The Ray Gibson Show.
After 9 or so, reminder, I got goodies to give away, Rich Guzzi tickets. And you know what? We were noticing here at the radio station, because we give, between us and Boston Star, we give away a ton of stuff over the course of a week. And I was talking with Kevin, and he says, you know what, you give away this from here and that from there. And sometimes people, wait a week, something like that, to come pick them up. He says, no, you give away Rich Guzzi tickets. People come in that afternoon to go and get them. So, all right, I got some to give away here, just a last pair that we have got to give away, and I think I'm going to make it have something to do with. Did we do movies? We did movies yesterday, right? We did when we were talking about the contest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do I want to do movies today?
Sure. Why not?
Well,
Yeah.
might be easier.
I mean, yeah. Everybody knows movies, except me. And by the way, these tickets are for the Monday night performance. A $35 value, Ray. $35 value
each.
Ray.
So there's two we're giving away. There's $70 value.
Well, okay, thanks.
No problem.
Math is not my strong point.
It's okay. It's all right. That's why we're in radio, baby. I got it. 8 after 9 o'clock in the morning, and so all right. Let me give this away. Otherwise, Michael, is that somebody already calling in?
Yeah.
You don't even know what the question is. I love that. Hi, this is Ray. Who's this?
Hey, Ray. This is Aries.
Aries, what's going on?
It's been a while since I've actually called you, but I'm always listening.
I've felt your presence.
Yes.
I feel your vibe. I feel the aura of you listening to the broadcast. All right. So you all right. Here's the question. It's a movie question. Can you handle it?
Sure.
I'll give you the name of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 movies that are out these days. Most movies, because Hollywood is out of ideas, most movies are either remakes or they're sequels. So I'm going to give you a bunch of names of movies, and you have to tell me which one is the only new original one in theaters this week. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right, here are your choices. Lion King, Stuber, Spider-Man, Toy Story 4, kind of gives it away on that one, or Aladdin.
Yeah.
Which one of them is the last original idea out of Hollywood?
Stuber.
Is absolutely right. Yes. Congratulations, my man. You and I'm sorry, everybody, I didn't have me on the camera, so nobody saw me, throw my fist in the air and say congratulations to you, Aries. That's a nice job. So Mike's going to get some winner information from you, all right?
Great.
Okay. So now, before I let you run, because it's not like we see each other all the time, what are you doing for Liberation? Are you going to be down on Sunday for the parade? Are you going to be underneath the tent? Are you going to be nomading, kind of up and down? Or are you going to stay home and watch Pacquiao beat Thurman?
Pacquiao beat Thurman.
Really?
Really?
Stale Balale, dude. Come on. The action's going to be down at the parade ground. I wish you followed some of the people that I follow on Facebook, because then you'd know just about the hotties that are coming back to Guam for Liberation.
Really?
Do I have to spell it out? Do I have to actually give you names?
Get up! It's Jesus Day.
Okay? I'll see you. What night are those tickets for, Mike? Is that for Saturday?
Ray, these are for the Monday night.
Monday night. Okay, so we'll get together at the parade grounds at the parade, and then I'll point out everybody to you, and then see you on Monday for the comedy show. All right?
All right,
thanks. All right, Brad. You hold on just a second. Mike's going to get some winner information from you and say things that only winners are allowed to hear. Now, this is where I've screwed up big time, because I was going to bring Mike into the conversation so that we could talk about fantasy football. We're not sports station. You know, it's kind of news, kind of talk, kind of whatever, right-wing bomb thrower, whatever station. But we do, from time to time, for a little bit every morning, talk about sports. And I generally don't care much about any other sports other than the ones that I'm particularly interested in, i.e. running. But that's not the case all the time. When it gets to be the football season, every year, I promise myself, this is the year I'm going to dive into it with both feet, both hands. I'm going to get into the football season. I'm going to get to know everything about the schedules, about the games, about who's playing, and that's exactly the way I feel right up until the kickoff on the first day, first game, and then after that, I'm like, nah, I ain't got time for this.
Yeah, it's easier when you have a dog in the hunt. You know, football's always been it's always been a thing to me since very early years. Same thing with Blake. So, you know, and actually with a lot of people here as well. So. But you got to have. Well,
because you know, somebody went to college here, or you know, they were stationed there when they were in the military, or all of their, you know, the family lives up there. They visited San Francisco once. Therefore, I am a 49er fan until I die. Right. Right. So that's and I get it, but I've never had that feeling. You know, when Pop was around, I was a Redskins fan. Mm-hmm. Because Pop was a Redskins fan. Right, and then when he lived in North Carolina, I was a Panthers fan because Pop was a Panthers fan.
Oh, okay.
Except when they sucked, and then he went back to being a Redskins fan again.
Oh, yeah.
So that's, you know, but now I got nobody to talk to about the Panthers or the Redskins.
Yeah, and neither team expected to do much this season, I believe.
And there we go, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so what are you gonna write something to somebody?
Yeah, for me, I've always been a hometown team fan, kind of a homer. So that would
Makes
be
sense.
That would be Houston, and you know, born an Oiler, die a Texan. That's how it is. But even as a child, I had compassion for those teams that really sucked. And back then, it was Seattle and Tampa Bay. And so I've always kind of
don't say anything about Seattle.
I've always held this, you know, this little piece of myself, you know, off to the side here, that I would root for those teams, you know, as long as they weren't playing my Houston team. And that was rewarded, you know, some 40 years later as both teams won Super Bowls. So it's all good. You know, you just hang in there long enough and it'll happen. Although I'm not sure about the Texans. I think I'll die before they win. Yeah, that's just how it's going to go.
All right, a couple of folks listening off island. I see Kaz Endo listening from Korea today. Yobaseo, 안녕하세요, Dipsida. Nice to have you around. And then there's Eileen Rivera, who is in Manila, listening to the broadcast today. I've got Sandra De Leon Guerrero. Nice to see you. Tina Buendicho saying good morning and happy Friday, everybody. Sandra De Leon Guerrero chiming in saying, it's okay, I'm a Manning fan.
Yeah.
And there are going to be people who are going to be Manning fans until the day that they die.
Sure. Just like there are Brady fans and other, you know,
yeah,
I mean,
and so once those names are gone, you just kind of stop watching it. So anyway, we've got we're going to, as we did last year, have some kind of fantasy football thing. My job here as managing partner of the radio station is to go out and find a prize worthy of your attention, worthy of your participation. Last year, it was one of those rechargeable boombox Bluetooth deals, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, and that was because we didn't have time to plan it, so I just reached out for whatever I had at my desk, right? But now we've got a little bit of time to plan it, maybe some time to go and check out my friends over at Beyond the Box, see what else they have down there that I might be able to give away or attach to other great prizes.
Right on. Yeah.
Maybe tickets aboard Cebu Pacific. That's funny.
Yeah, my job is to figure out how we're going to play it, and this is what I'm looking for some input from our viewers and listeners who are actually interested in playing. And I don't know. I'm thinking, and this I direct to you, I'm thinking maybe an online poll on our website for about a week could help us figure out what we want to do there. But we've got two options in my mind as how I want to handle it. Last year we did a pick'em, but the pick'em had involved with confidence points, and it actually got kind of confusing because if it hadn't have been for those points, I would have finished probably in the top three. I had a lot of good picks. This year, if we do pick'em, it's just going to be pick 'em. So you win or lose on the strength of your actual picks. Now, the other option is to go into full fantasy football mode, where players actually get to draft players at a certain point in time, and manage these players within their team and try to score as many fantasy points as they can. So I want to find out from the listeners, which would they rather play? Would they rather play the full fantasy football version, or if we just go with something simple like the pick'ems? And so we just got to figure out how we want to do it. And then I can...
so from the perspective of me that just might want to be able to play and just kind of at random pick out teams that I think is going to win based on the schedule, can we just go with that?
Would be better for you.
Okay.
Yes. And that's actually
that's
the
my
simpler.
vote.
Yeah, that's the simpler version. That probably would be my ultimate vote as well, because it does keep it simple. But there are some guys out there that like to do the whole 9 yards, and I don't mind it. I will actually have a fantasy football full team on Yahoo as well. By the way, this will be on Yahoo once again, because it's just simple, it's easy, it's free, it's not complicated. So yeah, looking for some of that input, guys. So what do you want to do? You want to do full fantasy football or just the picks?
All right. So you write the promo. I will put it on a poll thing at thepoint.gu, and then we'll just see what happens.
Right on.
Okay. So, or we just the point. We can do it faster, I think, on Facebook.
Okay.
Because it's I think it's an easier link to do because we can ask poll questions on our Facebook site as well. But that's inside baseball stuff. We'll get around to it. 9:16 in the morning. And as I said, it's been a while since I've had the opportunity to talk about job openings and opportunities that are out there for you. And mostly because none of them apply to me. None of them are jobs that I think are interesting to me or that I'm otherwise qualified for. And, because you look at the things, too, with the job openings that are out there, and maybe you're in the mood for some kind of a side hustle. Or is it possible that every once in a while, because we all just, we're all in our heads all the time, right? And we're all kind of, chipping away at the same stone all the time. And don't you every once in a while just have the idea, wouldn't it be great if I didn't have to do this all the time? Wouldn't it be awesome if I could just be like wear the orange apron over at Home Depot? And just, help people out. Where can I buy a 5mm screw? I know where we keep the 5mm screws. They're right over here. Now, do you need the nuts that go along with that, or are you going to be doing what kind of attachment are you going to be making? Maybe you want a thread all thread or whatever it is that you call that stuff. Maybe you're going to want drill a hole, and then we're going to put some Quickcrete stuff in there, and then you put the all thread inside, and then it sticks, and it's stronger than the concrete that it replaced. Maybe you just want something like, I love those things, by the way. That's among my favorite construction projects are anything that I get to use that Quickcrete product where I'm attaching something into the concrete. I need to drill a hole. I need to fill it with this stuff, and then you put something else in, and literally 5 minutes later, it is stronger than steel. Yeah. I love that kind of thing. The only problem is if your measurements are off, there's a real pain in the hiney to pull out and start all over again. Just saying. Yeah. So we got. That's one of the things I'd like to do every once in a while. The guys over at Pacific Islands Club will be looking for characters for their cast, and I think that would almost be fun to be. I don't know at my age. Or with my disposition, but I think it'd be kind of fun to explore the opportunity to be a club mate a couple of times a week, and I think I'd pay for that opportunity. I promise I won't eat all the food and drink all the free beer that you give to the club mates. I just want to be out there and hanging out with people that are also enjoying Guam. So those are the kinds of things that I consider to be interesting, at least for myself. So here's one. Pacific Charlie. This is my buddy. Pacific Charlie has got an opening for a screen printer and warehouse helper. I worked in a warehouse when I was a child, growing up in the shadow of Mariana Sales in Agana, and I never, ever, 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 ever want to work in a warehouse again. It's hot. It's dangerous. It's dusty. There's mice and rats in there.
Yeah, 1988, I was working in a warehouse. We manufactured boat instrument panels for a lot of different boats, Chris-Craft.
Oh, that is interesting. That is
well, it was interesting till I busted my finger open on a table saw.
Yes.
The scar is still there. It went all the way through, and I can't go through the whole process, but there was a lady doctor there in Florida where I was at, and just remarkably, she put it back together, and now, even today, you can't really tell
that there was ever an accident.
And that's just awesome.
All right, so I'm not saying that my buddy over at Pacific Charlie has got dangerous things like that. I just that I'd never ever want to work in a warehouse again. Part-time sales clerk over at Guam Rexall Drugs. So I could not do that. I could not be part of the sales team over at Guam Rexall Drugs. You coming to me and I get to see what your prescriptions are. You know, I oftentimes make a big deal about the fact that I can keep a secret, but I don't know that I could maintain the temptation to find out what kind of stuff you're walking out of a drugstore with. And I don't know that I'd be able to look at you again in some cases, or shake your hand, or take a kiss on the mouth from you. So I'm just saying maybe that's not the job for me. At Fisheye Marine Park, they're looking for operations supervisor. I can do that. I like being a boss. Accounting clerk. Can't do that. No good with money. Tour coordinator. Lifeguard. No, you don't want to trust me with your life. Almost said wife. Cook. Wait staff. Or cashier. Look, it's the small talk portion of the program on a Friday before a 3-day weekend. All of the serious stuff was talked about somewhere between, I don't know, 6 o'clock and 8.
And we still managed to smile through the whole thing.
Through most of, because there's no frowny face Fridays here. Lifeguard, no, I don't know. But tour coordinator, that sounds like something. That sounds nebulous enough to be able to jump into. What do you do? I'm a tour coordinator at Fisheye Park.
Oh, that would be cool, though. That would be nice. Yeah, I guess you take them through the
well, I'm thinking in terms of proximity to Korean hot pants.
Oh, absolutely. And, of course, there's a bar and restaurant right across the street.
And there's a diving place right across the street. So when you're at Fisheye, if there's nothing happening on the tourist side, you've always got people coming over in their dive stuff.
Well, and after work, you could always just slip on down there, do a little diving, and moon someone.
Exactly. Didn't somebody get arrested for that? There was a Coast Guard guy, right?
Actually, he showed his pee-pee.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
If
he had mooned them, I don't think they would have made such a big stink about it. But he did like full frontal nudity.
Yeah, this is going to be welcome to the end of your career in the Coasties, guy.
Why would you do that? I mean, it's cold, it's shrinkage. Come on, man.
Solid Waste Company, PWS, has got an opening as well. And you're going to say, why are you interested in this, Gibson? You got to have a Class B license, valid medical certification. Interesting. Basic knowledge on equipment and job site safety. Don't climb anything high. 3 to 5 years heavy equipment experience. This is a serious job. Familiar with refuse collection equipment and logistics, must be able to work weekdays, weekends, and over 10-hour shifts, and must please complete an employment application at the main office in Mammoth Street down in Tamuning. So Pacific Waste is looking for somebody. Do you look at the qualifications here?
Yeah, no, they're serious.
These are people, and I've riffed on something like this in the past. These people have to be more responsible and more knowledgeable than your average member of the 35th Guam legislature.
I got a lot of respect for those guys, because imagine, I mean, you know, we drive behind or past them, and those trucks are horribly just very malodorous.
Class B license you got to have.
Yeah, so you got to be serious, and not only that, but you got to smell garbage all day.
All day. Medical certification. I mean, they're asking for a lot here. I'm sure that the pay is commensurate with what is required here. Familiar with refuse collection and then the weekday hours. But this is the thing: 3 to 5 years heavy equipment experience. That's saying something. And I don't know. My guess is that anybody that they're hiring is probably already working somewhere else, because it seems to me that guys with these kind of qualifications are not just sitting around.
Yeah, they don't grow on trees.
They're the ones that have got the hustle on. Anyway, so think about that. Apparently, the problem is, though, it doesn't say anything about how much you can eat. Because we always thought that was the old joke when I was a kid. You work for the trash companies, and that's an all-you-can-eat job. But it wasn't all that funny then either. But it was interesting. Hey, it's all you can eat. What was I going to say? There was something else I wanted to riff on about this. Anyway, there's that. So at 9:24 in the morning, and a little bit later on, as I said, if you don't want to work, if it's too much of a hassle for you to go and get dressed up, fill out an application, do all of that stuff, and and then you still got to go to work every day. Maybe the working world is not for you. What should you do? That what are your options? $66 million in the bingo jackpot. At least that's what it was yesterday. I don't know if anybody won. V. Sablan Leon Guerrero, do you know if anybody won in the jackpot yesterday? They did a drawing at $66 million for the Thursday drawing. I don't know what it is for this weekend's drawing, but it's serious money there. And I'd like to win that, so I wouldn't have to work anymore. I'd still come to work every day, but it would be more like what Cousin Troy is doing on Candid News. It's just saying. But if you don't want to work, you might also want to get into this. The last day to file a sexual abuse claim or general claim against the debtor, which is going to be the Archbishop of Guam, August the 15th at 5 o'clock tomorrow Standard Time. And you're going, Ray, it's not funny. No, it's not. It isn't. But what's the risk at this point? We've got just a couple of weeks left between now and when they're going to say, that's it, we're not taking any more claims against this. And watch in between here and there. It's already like this. I want to say in yesterday's post there were two stories about people that were that were lining up against the archdiocese on this now. Right. And I want to say that there was at least one in today's paper. I mean, and I think every day there's going to be more and more and more of these things. So at some point it's beginning to sound like this. All you need to do, what was the name of the guy? Brouillard. Yeah. Is say that when I was a little altar boy. I was hanging out with Bouillard, and he made me swim naked, and he touched me, and or kissed me on the mouth passionately, or whatever it is, and just line up with everybody else in the claims.
Yeah, and dead men can't defend themselves. Not that he has a defensible position because he's admitted to doing these things, but they're going to pile on. I mean, that's just the way it is. And
see, it'd be hard for me to pile on because I've already gone on the air and say I must have been an ugly altar boy because nobody went after me. Yeah. But the others. Have, and I wonder as they get through all of these, as they're going to be punching through all of these names, how many of them we will come to find really didn't have a case against the Archbishop and de Brouillard or whoever.
See, that's
they
the beauty
just kind of, as you said, piled on.
Yeah, that's the beauty of arbitration is we'll actually never know who got to because they're all in the deal. And the thing that they don't realize, or maybe they do, but the fact is this amount, whatever amount they do manage to get from the church, and believe me, it's not going to be some $5 billion, probably to be closer to the tune of maybe $5 or $10 million, but all of that's got to be split equally between all the people.
All the members of the class.
They're going to wind up getting about, I don't know, 10, 15,000 apiece.
So so contact your favorite lawyer and see if maybe this might be right for you. Just jumping into a pool of litigation if for no other reason to see what comes out of it. 927-888-8255-888-TALK. I will admit to being somewhat amused with all of the post-Governor Lou Leon Guerrero, the real Governor Leon Guerrero, coming out the other day and saying, return the CBD. Return what you have stolen. That's what it sounded like. Because I was part of the clamor. I thought it was weird enforcement on something. End of the day, it doesn't make any difference. You got CBD oils coming out here. And recreational medicinal marijuana, we're turning our head the other way on that. But now everybody kind of going, well, yeah, but public health and the other guys, they're all, how come? But the FDA, and labeling and testing and samples, how much CBD is actually in here? Is there THC? Well, there's going to be a little bit of THC in all of that because they're related. But we didn't have the equipment to be able to determine whether it was under the 3% or over the 3%, so they just confiscated everything. And again, we don't care. THC. If you were to bring in CBD and THC, as far as I'm concerned, if it was able to get as far as my mailbox, ought to be able to keep the stuff. But I digress. That's not where the fun is. The fun here is what has happened since then. The guys over at Customs. Is it Customs? Yeah. They're still got their knickers in a notch. Well, I think we're doing this wrong. I think we're doing it illegally. Okay. Go ahead and feel that way. The Attorney General wants to conduct a sampling, if you will, of all of the other Attorney Generals across the country on how they're dealing with CBD products vis-a-vis the FDA labeling requirements. Okay, go ahead and do that. So the question I've got, and this is what was rolling around in my head, is hey, you guys, have you ever tried anything with CBD in it? Have you ever had the gummy bears? Have you ever had the little sublingual oils that you're supposed to stick under your tongue, or the salves and the liniments and the ointments, and whatever the other additives are? Because I think if you do, you'll realize one of two things. Either, hey, this works. This stuff works. Or B, I don't feel anything. I got every once in a while, it's funny because I chew betel nut. I chew the hard kind of betel nut, and I wish I could get a better image of this because you might be able to see the little red blood that is inside of this of the betel nut. People usually comment, they say two things. Number one, wow, amazing teeth for somebody that's been chewing betel nut all their lives. I don't chew it that way. I chew it the hard way. And number two, does it make you high? No. No, not really. There might be something in it, I don't know, a reaction to the tannins or something that makes the back of my neck a little bit warm.
Yeah.
But nowhere near making me high. So, and it's the same thing with the CBDs, right? I take the CBDs, and I might rub something on something, and the pain goes away, and I don't know whether it went away because I rubbed it real good, or whether it's because it's got CBD and sometimes THC in it as well. I don't know. I'm just saying, clearly there's a bunch of people that I don't think they've ever tried it. Try it and see either A, efficacy, or B, lack of efficacy. But certainly the last thing that's going to happen is anybody's going to get high.
Yeah, if you rub the CBD on your wrist and your wrist doesn't get hungry, then there's no THC.
Exactly. If you're not craving brownies or potato chips or anything like that. Anyway, I'm just saying, somebody needs to take leave in some of this stuff. And take them a couple of gummy bears and see, here you go. See, there's that book.
Dude,
there's
those
the
gummies
story.
are good, man.
There's the story. The General and his gummy bears. I don't know. They're tasty stuff. Where do I need it? It's 9:32 in the morning. Hannah, I see you there. Director Cho is going to be online, and she will explain the front and the rear of this shirt here in just a second. It's the Ray Gibson Show on 93.3. The Point iConnect time is 9:32. Go to iConnect and ask them about saving money on mobile and internet. Plans are called 888-8888.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. Half a day. I'm Rita Tidegli of Manila, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Ingatan ang iyong tahanan. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
THC stands for Tender Healing Care. Nate Horn saying Paul Zerzan has never, ever tried it. He should. Paul Zerzan has never had anything fun happen to him ever in his entire life. And I'll tell him to his face, he takes it out on all of the rest of us. I'd never met a more twitchy person. Where was I? Just a matter of time. Where before I start to say things like, hey, go to Wendy's and have your CBD salad. Wouldn't that be cool? CBD salad. How about a CBD burger? There's guys working on that. There's guys working on that right now. Right now, the closest thing we can get to the B is in berry. Berry salad that you can get over at the CBD chicken berry salad at Wendy's. It's taken me forever to get this spot out of my...
The D stands for delicious.
The chicken berry delicious salad at Wendy's. Try it today. It's got strawberries and blueberries and a raspberry vinaigrette dressing. There's feta cheese in there and a grilled chicken. Need something crunchy and spicy because you smoked? Okay, go. You can have that with the spicy chicken sandwich as well. It's Wendy's, guys.
The summer of Jeep, Compass, Cherokee, Wrangler, Cars Plus in Mighty. Your new adventure starts now. Buy the 2019 Motor Trend SUV of the year and get a new Jeep Wrangler Sport for $268 per paycheck. Or get a new Jeep Compass Sport, only $167 per paycheck. Let them hear you coming in the new 2019 Jeep Cherokee. Buy for $205 per paycheck. And get financing as low as 1.99% on all Jeep models. Come see why you'll be kicking it at Cars Plus in Mighty. Driven by you.
And they say, Ray, what do you want? Relationship? Do you want affection? No. Attention. Attention. I like it when people pay attention to me. There's Visa Blonde paying attention. Colleen So is paying attention to me. Who else is online? I got Marley Diesel Holden saying hello and asking, what are you talking about, please? I have no idea. No idea. It's Liberation Friday, and that means that there's going to be a 3-day weekend ahead of all of us here that do the morning show. Usually, by the time we get into this portion of the program, it's either deadly serious or what I like to call stream of consciousness. It's the small talk portion of the program. Low cost, no cost ways for me to entertain myself, etc., and a chance to get close to friends and family. So that's kind of what we're talking about here today. You're more than welcome to chime in and give me some of your thoughts. Melanie Mendiola is online, and probably again, because Melanie's a rather serious person. She's probably looking for some kind of pearls of wisdom, some kind of crazy insight from somebody like me on a variety of topics. Tuesday, Melanie, we'll get to that on Tuesday. I'll throw wisdom at you like you wouldn't believe on Tuesday. In the meantime, I do need to get through this. I'm wearing a shirt, and it's a very special shirt for a lot of reasons. Number one, because of the person who gave it to me. I call her Director Cho, and it's Hannah Iriarte. Good morning, Hannah. How you doing?
Good morning, Ray. I'm doing well.
Okay, so anybody I love this shirt. Anybody that knows Hannah will appreciate the warning that I gave her before I told her to call me, which is don't cuss. No cussing on the radio, Hannah.
Who, me? I'm a pastor's daughter.
That's true, isn't it? Anyway, so I'm wearing a shirt, and it's a special shirt, and it says, see if I can get the whole thing on the screen so that everybody else can see what it says without microphones and a couple of things in the way, portions of, the infrastructure of the show. And there it says, support the uterus. There's a black t-shirt that says support the uterus. It says something on the backside as well. I'm not very good at doing selfies in reverse, but maybe you can tell everybody, Hannah, what's on the back of this shirt.
Well, on the back is support an endo warrior with a hashtag, and our logo for our nonprofit, me and Catherine, the Guam Endo Movement, and we are here to support the uterus.
Support the uterus. Yeah, and that's what it says, support the uterus. So everybody should have in their mind their favorite uterus, and without it's one of those conversations that you can get into that's deadly serious, but it's an important conversation. So let's kind of shy away from the scary talk about endometriosis and the pain and the suffering that comes along with it. You can still live a life with endometriosis, and it's important for women to know that the complications that come along with that monthly visit, maybe complications that never ever go away, it's something you're not alone. You're not alone, and there are others that are going through this as well. And maybe as you get together, you talk about things that have helped you, therapies that have helped you, or maybe just the idea that you and your gal pals have got something else in common. Maybe some of that is going to be the therapy that helps make it through some of those tough times.
Yeah, that's right. Catherine is the one with endometriosis. I don't have it, but ever since we started this organization in March, so many women have reached out to us and told us that they're suffering from the condition as well. Mm-hmm. But even though they're talking to us, they're still not ready to be public about it, or they're still shying away.
Well, there's nothing to be ashamed about. It happens. It's something that happens to women in their bodies, and you got to go see a doctor and maybe have to take a pill or get some other kind of therapy. I was looking at something that and I don't know whether it's been bunked or debunked, but if you get a piercing in your left nostril,
the nose piercing. Yeah, Catherine and I talked about that. I don't know if she'll try it though.
Hold her down. We'll make her try it. She's got endometriosis. She already knows how to suffer. Come on, let's give her the nose pierce.
Jiu-jitsu, so I might be able to hold her down.
Exactly. So I love this shirt, and I want to say thanks to the guys over at Coffee Slut, because I understand that they subsidize the purchase and the printing and everything, right?
Yes, they did. They're working with us, and we really appreciate them. Tomorrow at noon, we'll be doing our soft launch of the male shirts, where we'll be selling them for $25. Proceeds go to help our nonprofit. And next week, we'll also be releasing female shirts and tank tops.
Dude, can I get a tank top? I mean, I like this one. You gave me a nice shirt, but, I like to show off my arms.
I'll give you a tank top.
That's my girl.
Can I wear it on air?
Yes, can I wear it on air? I don't know if I can wear it on. I like to show off my arms. I don't know that people like to see them. So, but I guarantee it will get worn and people will see it. Maybe just not on Facebook Live. So, what time again tomorrow?
Tomorrow at noon at Coffee Slut.
Gotcha. You might actually see me there. Do they have a microwave oven? I mean, I know it's unfashionable, but I'm not a cold coffee guy. Is it possible I could get some Coffee Slut cold coffee and then just nuke it until it's hot enough to drink?
I'm not sure. You're gonna have to come tomorrow and find out.
All right. I think I might mosey down there. 20 away from 10 o'clock in the morning. Hannah, thanks for the time. Have a great weekend. And for the listeners that might not have heard the review, you took Lil V to go watch Lion King last night. How was that?
I did. At first, she was excited, and I'm thinking, oh, it's Disney, it's going to be fine. But I forgot, of course, their main song is Circle of Life. There's so much death and fighting, and yeah, it's like you said this morning, it's kind of like a horror show if you think about it. So there were times where Genevieve asked me to cover her eyes.
Oh. Now, is there's still music in it, right? I mean, we've got all the songs. There's still the Hakuna Matata, and was it Elton John at the end of it? Can You Feel the Love Tonight?
Yes, we had all of that. Okay. And one thing I was really curious about was that lick that Nala gives in the cartoon version. I was wondering how they're going to do it in the live action. I like the way they did it. I was worth watching for that.
just for that. Isn't that like the Spider-Man kiss?
It's not like that, no.
Okay, because I'm trying to... Do they have anything like that? This conversation, okay, we'll take up the conversation on WhatsApp. I'll talk to you pretty soon. Director Cho, thanks very much for the shirt. It's exactly the right size, and I'm going to enjoy wearing it. 941, and you want details on that. Does this have a website on the back? Do you know? Can you read it? Am I showing it? Hello?
No, it does not have it, but it does have the hashtag that you can, and more than likely, once you apply that hashtag to a post, then if you click the hashtag, it will probably take you somewhere that will give you the website.
Thanks very much. I appreciate the traffic directions on the internet. 941 in the morning, 888-255-888-TALK is the telephone number around here. Let's see what people are talking about on the online thing. Rudy Magallana says, I will be running around Wendy's. If they had it, see, now everybody likes the idea that we just had, the chicken and berry delicious. So can I give you another thing with the CBD? The B can also stand for bacon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I got a lot of stuff with bacon on it over at the Wendy's place. But use your imagination, guys. And just saying that again because I'm annoyed that there seems to be such a rush to maintain a stigma on something that seems to be helping so many people out. And again, I've found a couple of places in my life where CBDs seem to work for me. And different parts of my body that I wake up with an ache on, and maybe a couple of injuries that I gotten from running or hiking or something like that, and maybe it feels like I'm healing it faster. Maybe it feels like the aches are going away a little bit faster. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just, maybe it's the placebo effect. Maybe there's just something in my head going on that says, well, I'm taking this salve and it's got this minty feel and I'm putting it someplace where it hurts right now and eventually it goes away. Would it have been the same if I'd have taken a handful of Ben Gay and done the same thing? Probably. But I want to believe that the CBD is good. So that is my advice now to everybody that still has a problem with it. FDA is going to be trying to wrap their heads around CBDs and marijuana because that's what they're supposed to do. But so far, I haven't seen a whole lot of CBD products that just outright claim that they're going to be curing you of all your ills.
Right.
And if they did, I don't know that I'd believe them. I got a pack of gummies. And it talks about pain relief and better sleep and anxiety, etc. I mean, just it looks like it could be snake oil. And I'm going, well, I don't really have a lot of these problems, but I'm going to take it just because I might like the taste of it, and it might have a decent effect on me. So to the degree that I suppose maybe there needs to be something where we're careful about what claims that we make on this, and the access of things like gummy bears to children who aren't going to know the difference, or whether it will make any difference at all. I mean, if a kid ate a gummy bear, what's going to happen to him?
Yeah, just get probably real relaxed.
Yeah,
I mean,
just a cool kid.
It's not an actual drug. It's a natural homeopathic substance, and I like the gummies. The gummies actually better than anything. I really like those, but they can be a little pricey.
That, if you ask me, that might be the biggest problem, because
yeah.
it is so trendy, because there are not a whole lot of companies in the world that are doing this kind of thing, and because it's made from something that you have to grow.
Yeah.
It comes out of the ground. We don't synthesize it. We don't manufacture it. It actually comes from something that comes from the ground. So we're gonna have to work on cultivation down the road, I suppose. 9:45, and I'm looking to see if there's anything else in the table of contents that's remotely interesting to me right now. There's a measure over at the legislature, 181-35, and I'm looking at this going, well, it comes down to will there be anything substantial that happens with this measure? It is an act relative to compensating adjudicated claims of the greatest generation of Guam for the atrocities suffered during World War II, during the World War II occupation on Guam. And there's a whole lot of the first part, legislative findings and intents, and then it moves on to creating a local war claims fund, and then authorizing the governor to put money in that war claims fund from wherever she can find some money. And apparently there's money in the government floating around somewhere. And then we'd give that now to all of the people who have already had their claims adjudicated. Until we're out of money, until the last compensable victim has been paid or the last compensable victim has died. That's what the plan is for this. And it sounds like they're kind of working something with they said that they're working in the same direction as Mike Sinnicolas is in Washington, but Mike Sinnicolas is actually pretty close on to getting this done. It's going to pass the House. We're not going to have a problem with it in the Senate, and the loophole that existed is going to get closed, and the Treasury will be able to pay out these claims. But what this looks like here to me is just the desire for the Speaker, Amanda, and Will to go, no, look, we're doing something too. It's not just Mike. Mike can't get all the credit for this. He didn't sign the Unity Pledge. We're doing something too. And I'm going, what guarantee is that this is going to do even what you want it to do? We'll make a fund, and the governor can, without any other restrictions, move money, transfer money from accounts into this fund. Okay, what's the guarantee that she's going to do it? And how does she know who have adjudicated claims? Because my understanding is that information is still not necessarily out there. So I don't know what's going to be happening with this, other than it's the bill that is introduced so that they can say a bill has been introduced. Today over at the legislature, and I don't know if I really, really want to watch this. There are 108, 109, 110, 11, 12, 113, 114, all the way up to 121. These are all, they all look like identical measures. An act to appropriate $50,000 or a sum of money to the Guam Visitors Bureau for programs that strengthen, enhances, and promotes our tourism industry. And here's what happened is earlier in the year, the Visitors Bureau stopped making payments into a bunch of accounts that were being held by businesses, by outfits that were doing business with the Visitors Bureau prior. But the Visitors Bureau, it seems to me, didn't actually bring them on or want to bring them on. They all went to the legislature and said, I want the legislature to appropriate money so that the Visitors Bureau has to spend it on me and my pet projects. And the legislature, naturally, very, very happy to take care of their friends and said, okay, this is what it is. Anyway, there was no authority in the budget to do that before, and everybody starts calling the legislature and saying, but they're not supporting my TV show, or they're not supporting my program, or my game, or my whatever. And so... now they're putting it together again, forcing the hand of the Guam Visitors Bureau to spend money on programs that the Guam Visitors Bureau initially were not interested in supporting, wanting to use that money instead, maybe to pay for some more of these charter seats, or to I don't know, clean up our market to make our destination look that much better.
I suggested to the good speaker that she also put one down there for $50,000 towards the Ray Gibson Fund, but clearly that did not make the list.
The Ray Gibson Super Fund is running low, as you might imagine these days, and I would like to see if I could get my stipend restored from the Guam Visitors Bureau, even though the Guam Visitors Bureau has absolutely no interest in paying me that money whatsoever. So it will be interesting, and yes, I will be critical of it, because as far as I'm concerned, that's money that we need to keep the Inarahan pools clean, to keep the bathroom right behind the Visitors Bureau as clean as possible, so it doesn't look like people have got to go pee-pee and poo-poo in the third world. I'd like to see more of that kind of thing, as opposed to, oh, look, somebody's got some big junket idea, and we're going to take some dough away from the guys over at the Visitors Bureau. Not that I love everything the Visitors Bureau spends money on, but at least they got guardrails, and at least they got something like a board that is thinking about the hospitality industry, about tourism. How do I know? Because I've tried to get money from them as well. And they're not left with as much as you think they are after the legislature starts playing around with it. It's 9:50 in the morning, and Mike's not telling me yet, but I'm going to go ahead and take this last break of the week there, Mike, and come back with about 9 more minutes of Killing Talk Radio.
Mezcla Chamorro Fusion Bistro brings you island hospitality with a true taste of modern Chamorro cuisine. A bistro look that feels like home. Their menu features local and traditional flavors with a twist. From their famous Calaguan Hapa to fresh ahi poke salad and their award-winning barbecue ribs. Mezcla takes your favorite local dishes and serves them with extra flair that you'll only find at Mezcla Chamorro Fusion Bistro. Stop by their newest location in the Grand Plaza Hotel in Tumon. For reservations, call 969-2652. Mezcla, a true taste of Guam.
65 years ago, Bank Pacific opened its doors to our community. As we celebrate, we offer you a special 65th anniversary personal loan rate for as low as 4.65% for travel, back to school, a wedding. Do whatever you want with the money. During July, we just want to give it to you for as low as 4.65% APR. It's our birthday present to you.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal opportunity lender, member FDIC, conditions apply.
KFC has finally answered the world's most important question. What came first, the chicken or the egg? And the answer is both. Introducing KFC's KFC AM, their new Southern and local-inspired breakfast. AM-loaded platter with chicken fried rice, waffles, and Colonel's chicken congee. KFC also has your all-time favorites, AM chicken and egg wraps, Southern biscuit and sausage sandwich, and hash browns. So for finger-licking good mornings, AM will never be the same at KFC. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Sorry. Earlier today, we got blessed with a telephone call from Ken Leon Guerrero, and Ken said, "Well, you know what? I'm love to stay with you. I had to call in early because him and Banana Dan are making their escape down at called to the Agate Marina for a trip to go sailing out there today, and that's awesome. That's awesome. Anytime you can do something like that, obviously you take advantage of it. Guam has got the most spectacular waters around it. The weather seems to be conducive at this particular moment to go out and do something like that. And there is something about sailing. There is something about sailing. I had, when I was an active diver years ago, I had the chance to go on a catamaran, and it was a guy that had this cat that he'd sailed around the world, and he'd pull into ports, and that's how he made his money. Was he'd take people out on sailing excursion or diving excursions, and it cost a little bit more, is my recollection. And I asked why. He says, because you'll fall in love with it. Don't worry, it'll be worth it. And I said, why? He says, I'm going to introduce you to the unsound.
Yeah.
And you get out there, and he had a motor to take him out of the harbor. So we'd gotten out of the harbor, and then the sails went out, and then the boat took off. And there's the sound of the wind in the sails, then there's the sound of the wind as it's whipping by your hair. and you're not hearing the of the motor or anything like that. And just you plug into that sound, the sound of the waves as they're crashing against the bow. And I didn't want to go dive. I wanted to sleep. It's just, where's the beer? I'm going to sleep. This is going to be great. But get out there, hit a couple of dive spots, and fortunately, it was a long enough trip that I got that unsound again on the way back into the harbor. And it was, I think, maybe the most comforting and relaxing dive I'd ever been on in my life. And it was one of those where I got in the water and looked around and, okay, that's fine. I want to go back up now. I want to go back up and lay on the deck of that cat. And it was absolutely gorgeous. So I got to say congratulations, kudos to Danny and Ken for going out there and looking. Now, I'm not 100% sure, but it is possible that the picture that Ken sent of him and Danny this morning, it's possible that this has gone through the Face app.
Oh, yeah?
Or maybe they are just that old. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. We take a picture of that and run it backwards and see whether it changes if we try to make him look young. It's amazing, isn't it, how fast the backlash has become on that Face app that's out there? I mean, 3 days ago, everybody in the world was having a good time with it, and they're taking pictures of them and their family and their friends, and they're aging them or they're making them younger or something like that. Find out that it's run by a Russian outfit, and you have to give up a modicum of your privacy in order to use their free app.
Yeah, but the thing is, that really isn't the issue, because you do the same thing with every app you load onto your phone.
Facebook
has stolen more information from you folks than you could possibly imagine, so it can't be that. What the big deal is it's from Russia.
Mm-hmm.
I went on ahead and deleted the app from my phone. I got, I was reading all these things, and I'm like, if they're raising this much stake, maybe I should go ahead and delete it. But it doesn't matter, because they've gotten from me whatever
everything
I gave them.
Everything that they're going to get, yeah.
And I just why I said that I'm really happy that I don't do anything important on my phone.
Right.
So they couldn't get any sensitive data from me or anything like that, because I just don't share that on my telephone.
Yeah, and whatever you find on my phone, vote for me. It's all true. Just whatever you've heard people say, whatever you heard I've done, said, whatever, it's true. And I'm okay with that. 9:55 in the morning. Sandra De Leon Guerrero says, what we going to do for 3 days, Ray? Guess it'll be a fatter weekend. Well, there's food. There's food. Oh, can I tell you what I did? Can I tell you what I did last night? I was running around. No, I was running around a couple of spots saying hello to people, and it got to be. I was looking at the clock, and it's like 8, and I realized I hadn't eaten. And there's Food Truck Thursday thing going on, but just a little bit ahead of that. And if it's Food Truck Thursday, generally means Stacks is not as crowded, because there's all these people doing food trucks over there. Right. And I was right. I pulled up into Stacks, got myself one of their specials, and I said, to go. Give me to go. And I got it home, and I took out my Tabasco sauce and my own ketchup, and I stuck it out there, and just it was gone in 3 bites. You ever have one? It's the burger that hits the spot. And I tell you what, I slept like a baby. That and the last Blue Moon in the fridge. So I had the burger and the last Blue Moon in the fridge before I go shopping for the weekend. So that was the way I started my weekend. But what else am I going to be doing? I'm going to chase. I think tonight I'm going to chase a sunset. Definitely going to do that. I can't do a whole lot of partying. I've got an insurance physical in the morning, for which I have to fast. And they said I can't have anything but water. There's water and beer. Dude. But no, they nothing after midnight. Okay, but that means so I kind of got to think about waking up first thing tomorrow morning and not having my usual oro no men si or extra joss or coffee or anything like that. So I won't be able to do that. And as soon as they're done at 8:30 or something like that, I'm probably going to go find an extra joss and a cup of coffee and some oro no men si or something along those lines. So there's that. Tomorrow, Pia Mia at 8 o'clock. Maybe that's going to be a thing over at the place. Tomorrow. Never mind. I know exactly what I'm doing tomorrow night. I will be with you at the Rich Guzzi comedy show with Mr. Rios and Mr. Guzzi going to be on stage. Doors open at 6 o'clock. I don't think you can get tickets anymore at the street locations. I believe all of them will be available at the door tomorrow night. So I will see you there. I'm going to be the MC. I'll hold the microphone for a little bit and get things going. And that is going to be my Saturday night. Now, it's going to be Sunday. Sunday, I'm going to show up early at the Liberation Parade ground so I can run in the Liberation Mile. And then after that, I'm just going to be hanging out at the tent. People asking, are you going to be in the parade or anything like that tomorrow? And the answer is not on purpose. I intend to do some walking around, saying hello to friends on both sides of the street, and enjoying the Liberation Parade. It's about my favorite thing that happens on Guam every single year, and I don't like being away from it. I like to think I know where I'm going to be finishing up over as well, maybe at Galen's family property down by that side of GCIC building. And then I guess the last question is, what are we doing on Monday? There is no Ray Gibson show on Monday. This is your programming note. This is your warning that I ain't going to be here on Monday. Mike's not going to be here. Kevin's not going to be here. Jerry's not going to be here. Blake's not going to be here. Well, actually, Mike said he might come in and just sit, kick back and listen to talk radio and drink vodka all day, for which I don't think I've got a problem as long as you're not punching in. I don't want to pay you $88 for that. So that's the plan. I'll figure something out, and if we do it right, I won't appear in any magistrate reports on Monday or Tuesday. And I hope I don't see your name in any of the magistrate reports on Monday or Tuesday. Look, you have a terrific weekend. And if you're looking for inspiration, I'm going to leave you with this image here of a couple of dear friends of mine enjoying a spectacular day on Guam. Wouldn't it be great if we could all hit the waves just like Ken and Dan are doing right now? The radio station is KUSG. Hagutnya. 93.3 is the point. Biba Liberacion Guahan. Here's Fox News.
Downing a drone. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. President Trump saying U.S. forces took action against Iran in the Persian Gulf.
Amid heightened tensions between the U.S. and Iran, President Trump announcing that a U.S. Navy warship, the USS Boxer, destroyed an Iranian drone in the Strait of Hormuz.
The